disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lomito! Got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need BDA boxing.
All right. Welcome everybody to another Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. Yeah, it's your good friends to BEA. Hopefully everybody doing fantastic out there as well in this beautiful summer's eve. Let me tell you something. We got a fantastic show planned for everybody out there. We're going to be talking about some of the things that are being planned for the rest of the year. We're going to be talking about Virgil Ortiz's fight this Saturday against McKinson. Oh, there's also Michael Conlan versus Mariaga. It's a nice little fight too over there in Ireland. Should be entertaining. We're also going to be talking about Keith Thurman's recent comments about himself and Danny Garcia. We're going to be talking about some of the fights that have been announced, like Joyce Parker, Warrington versus Lopez, I believe it is. What's the guy's name? Warrington, yeah, Lopez, Luis Roberto Lopez. And we're also going to do a little preview we're going to speculate about what's left in these last 4 months of the year. What surprise fights are we going to get? Before we get down to the fun, fellas, let's get down to the business. Let's get the business out of the way, rather. If you want to donate with the Super Chat, you're certainly welcome to do so. You can donate with the Super Chat that way, or you can donate by joining the BDA membership program. That's always fantastic as well. You get more bang for your buck in return. And the most important thing, don't forget, is to like, subscribe, spread that BDA gospel, all right? I want to give a shout out to everybody out there, the Can Man, J Money, who else? Larry Liston, Eparakua, Super Sardonic, AJR, Aaron Kuko, Shadow Combat, Larry Liston. The Don is in the house as well. Shout out to the Don and all the Dons out there. Amac PvP, Rafael Garza, Rapax Trucking Company. Shout out to those two guys as well. Eric Gomez says, Bomb Squad. You owe me a Bomb Squad, Mr. BDA. Well, actually, listen. Boom Boom guy called in last episode rather, and he gave 2 Bomb Squads. So, I guess you got your bomb squads that way. All right, you don't need me to say them anymore. All right, so listen, let's get down to business here. We've got, hold on, let me boost up the volume here. We've got Bucho, we got Jimmy, we got Chief, and we got Gonzalo. Hello, fellas. Hello, girlfriend. Now we've got Gonzalo as well joining us. Bucho says, "What's the noise?" Yeah, I heard some. Does someone have a parakeet? Anyway, who cares? Listen. Let's get down to business here, fellas. What was I going to talk about? All right, let's get to it. The Virgil Ortiz is coming back this Saturday. Now, against a guy named Michael McKinson, who's undefeated. He's got 20 wins. The unfortunate thing is he's only got, check this out, 2 knockouts out of those 20 wins. But there's a caveat here for Ortiz, or multiple caveats. First of all, McKinson is a southpaw. He's pretty elusive. He's undefeated. He doesn't know how to lose. And on top of that, Ortiz, I don't think he's ever fought an elusive southpaw before. And he's been out of the ring for, let's just say, a little less than a year. But it's almost a year. Take away 14 or 12 days, and it's been a year. Does anyone want to start off with giving their comments about this upcoming fight? Or you guys let me know. Who wants to go first?
Well, you're taking on a guy that's used to going the distance, who's a slick southpaw. I definitely see this as a grooming fight. At least that's what they're looking at on paper. Hopefully they studied the opponent, they studied the film, so they're ready for him. And if this guy breaks a knockout streak, more power to him. But unless he wins, that's the only feather in his cap, breaking the knockout streak. Now, it's not to say that he can't pose problems and make Ortiz look bad. The idea is to get a guy like that that's supposed to make him look bad and have Ortiz look good. Now, I don't know that that's going to happen because I don't know much about this guy. But I do know that unless all the I's are dotted or T's are crossed, worst case scenario is Ortiz might get a close decision if he doesn't deserve it. I don't think he's going to lose this fight. I don't think they're going to look to match him against someone with a record that light because he's still more of a prospect / contender. So if they risk too much too soon and he looks terrible and loses, then they've just almost ruined their investment.
Yeah, that's the thing about McKinson, fellas, is this guy, you might remember him from the undercard of Cobb versus, what was the guy's name? Roca, because he was supposed to fight Ortiz, and then Ortiz pulled out. We're going to get to that, by the way. And he fought on the undercard, and I remember being on the Discord during that card, and people were just saying, can we please get done with this McKinson guy? Because he was stinking out the joint. And that's the problem. He's a guy that doesn't want to give. He's content to stand in front of you. He doesn't run. He doesn't have that ass style, the American slick style. He stands in front of you. He moves the upper body. He jabs. He counters. And if you don't give him anything, he's content to just stand in front of you and make you miss. So it's going to be it's imperative that Ortiz chase him down. Now, what I like about Ortiz is that people just look at the power, which, of course, listen, I agree. Power is imperative. It's very important to be a world-class boxer. But he's quick, too. People don't give him credit for his quickness and the ability to place himself in position to punch very, very quick from all angles and then switch back to defense immediately, almost immediately. And some guys just can't see it and they can't handle that type of pressure. So we'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see if Ortiz can break McKinson down or if that layoff is going to give him a problem.
At his age, it shouldn't. Oh, sorry, Lorenzo. Let me finish this real quick. It shouldn't give him too much of a problem at his age. He's only 23. He should be able to stay off ring rust pretty quickly. But again, it's more of the opponent's style in front of him with the ring rust than the ring rust alone.
Gonzalo,
I would say, I would say that still it's a calculated risk as far as for a comeback in the sense that he's still the knockout artist with the knockout power. And even if he got reckless against, let's say, for example, when he fought Kambosos, he would still run this guy over just based on power alone because he's still lanky and he's got the power and the other guy can't crack. So he would just run him over. Even if he would be getting let's say, for example, he would be looking rusty. He just freaking run him over. Just get on his chest and get sloppy, get reckless, and still just, run this dude over with the punching power and get the knockout because he got nothing to really fear because the other guy can't crack. So what's to hold him back? I don't think anything would. He would just pretty much be a freight train in there.
So is that what you're expecting, Gonzalo? You're expecting Ortiz to not give a care, in other words, and just run this guy over?
Well, I think he would go in there with the mentality to be intelligent and to look sharp and to look to outbox this dude and get the knockout like that. But first and foremost, he would probably try to outbox him just looking good. But if push came to shove and he started getting outboxed, I think he would just change the game plan and just get on this dude's chest and break him down.
Yeah, I see the same thing. I don't see him becoming a bull pressure fighter unless the need comes. I see him using strategy to set the knockout up prior to, and then if he's having too much trouble by missing too much, then, like Gonzalo said, head on the chest and just go to war.
Yeah, because the thing about McKinson is, he can crack according to his record, but you watch him fight, guys aren't exactly jumping on him. They can't catch him, and then he's quick to counter, although he doesn't counter that often. And offensively, it's not just that he doesn't hit hard, it's just he doesn't seem to be all that versatile when it comes to an attack. Meanwhile, Ortiz is he represents a varied attack. This guy can crack with both hands. He throws almost every punch with good technique or near perfect technique. So it's very hard to fight toe-to-toe with that guy. But we'll see what happens because like AJR in the chat says, he says that layoff is going to affect Virgil. That disease he had could kill him. I want to ask Jimmy. Jimmy, We talked about
Yes, sir.
Ortiz a couple of months ago when he dropped out of his fight. And there were reports, rumors that that he was having a hard time making weight. He claims he had a disease and that his bicep was all fucked up. What do you expect from a guy like Ortiz, considering the quality he's shown so far? Is an elusive yet light-hitting southpaw like McKinson going to give him trouble, or is the disease going to give him trouble? What do you think?
Well, I think he's been cleared. You know what I mean? Because his future's worth a lot of money. I'm sure they wouldn't let him go in there. I'm sure he's been checked every which way but Sunday through doctors and whatnot. Listen, my cynical side, I'm pissed. The kid hasn't fought in a year. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. This causes more injuries. When you're inactive, it causes more injuries. Your body doesn't stay in fighting shape. That's a whole nother show. This kid, let's be honest, I don't normally like doing this. I don't like to, go back in the past and this fight went this way so this fight should go this way. But what I'm saying is, remember when Triple G fought that kid, that southpaw, light puncher, but was slick on his feet, didn't get hit too often. Was it not Monero, but it was the other kid who...
thought it was Monero.
What's that?
I only remember Monero, Jimmy. Yeah.
Yeah, there was another one too. He knocked him out in the second round. It was around 2016. But my point being, I remember then everybody was trying to look. We were all trying to find an angle that Triple G can get work out of this. Here's the thing: the kid's a southpaw and he's slick, right? He's hard to hit. You know what I mean? He has no power, so that's not his game. So you're not going to be really worried about him catching you. Plus, Ortiz has already shown he's got a real steely chin. The question is this: to raise himself to that status that we held Triple G, in which is every fighter's goal, ultimate goal, he's got to take out the trash like Triple G did. Just being honest. This kid's a domestic level fighter. I watched his fight the other night. It's a question of, will he stay within his game plan? Because the problem when you have guys with crazy power, and he's probably probably the hottest puncher in that division, welterweight right now, one-shot power. They sometimes get a little and they get frustrated. And I just hope he starts swinging for fences with every punch, because that just creates bad habits. Stay within himself and just follow up 1-2s with the jab. Eventually you're going to catch the kid, and you hit hard enough where you're going to slow down that slickness. But don't go the distance. Don't make this kid make you look like you had to think a lot in there. You know what I mean? If you want to get to that level where you have, support at the way everybody wants to, remember Triple G at his height in 2016, that type of support, you want to take out the trash. And I'm not calling this kid trash. That's just a term I'm using. You take care of the guys you're supposed to take care of. And this is a guy you're supposed to beat. And your game is punishment and power. Don't go out there and edge him in a decision. That's not going to move the needle. It's not going to help your name brand. And Golden Boy should sign that kid over to Top Rank so he can have a fucking better shot at a better career. Because if this is one, you know what I mean? I just don't I know he was injured, but even then, that injury was, that happened at 7 months after his last fight. So I don't know.
Well, listen,
but that's just my spiel on Ortiz.
Well, it's a great way of putting it about what the objective is for Ortiz, which is, look, he's fighting a guy that doesn't have that, it doesn't present that much offensively, but like we said, Ortiz has been out for a year, so it's important for him to look good. Like you said, he needs to prove that he's beyond these type of guys and that he can take him out. If he struggles for 12 rounds, people are gonna say, "Oh, he struggled with a nobody." But you gotta keep in mind again the circumstances that Ortiz has been out for a year, and the fact that this guy's actually pretty good. If you look at his fights, he's a little bit tricky. So it's imperative for me. The bar is for Ortiz to work him over. What he's always done against orthodox fighters: work both sides of the body, be quick, pump that jab, transition from offense to defense, and like you said, take out opponents that on paper shouldn't be in there with you. You also brought up an interesting point about, is he the biggest puncher at 147? That would be quite a feat indeed if he was, because this division, welterweight, it's got Spence, who can crack. You got Keith Thurman, who can crack as well. You've got Jaron Ennis. You've got Stanionis. You've got the guy that he just beat, Stanionis. I forget his name, the fucking Eastern European dude.
Butayev,
yes, thank you, Gonzalo. Butayev, those guys can crack. Maybe not one punch and you're flat out, but man, this division, this has to be the division of punchers.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you lined them all up and they all took hung those at the carnival, the ball, like it hangs, you punch it and you see who hits the hardest. If you lined them all up, I'm sure they'd all be very equal. But it's different than when you're in the ring. Nobody commits to their power at welterweight like he does. He puts himself in positions of taking shots like he knows that's his game. You know what I'm saying? Nobody puts the weight over their front foot and swings it to the point sometimes he knocks himself out of position a little. Like, you know what I mean? So during a fight, they might all be very similar, but during the fight, who's going to hit you harder? I think that's Ortiz.
Well, Bucho,
sorry, Gonzalo. I know you were saying something too.
Well,
yeah. I was just gonna say Crawford too. I think that's the surprising because he's moving up, but he's been getting the knockouts. Yeah, Crawford, man, surprisingly.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, he's got, like we've talked about before, Gonzalo. He's got sort of Wilderish power, wiry power. Bucho, I wanted to ask you. You got high standards, and deservedly so, because sometimes. I'm speaking for myself. I tend to give guys credit sometimes for doing things that they should have done. And you're like, nah, motherfucker, there's no credit for this guy. You got high standards. Piggybacking off what Jimmy said, what do you expect from Ortiz? Meaning, what do you think he should live up to? What are your standards that he should live up to this Saturday?
He has to. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
he needs to stop this guy. He needs to knock him out. Stop him, and because if he looks bad in this fight, trust me, there are gonna be all these critics coming out, and there's gonna be even people saying he's not ready for a title shot. Even his promoters might be thinking that. You know what I mean? I think he's ready. He's a contender, right? You look at the rankings. He's like, I was looking at them right now. I mean, he's number 3 he's 3 in the IBF, number 1 in the WBO, number 2 in the WBC. And the WBA, he's number 1 as well. I mean, this guy he needs to get a title shot after this.
Yep.
And so I expect
he's number 1 in BC.
BC is Keith Thurman.
Jeez Louise.
They put Keith Thurman over him after that Barrios fight. The original number 1 contender was Ortiz, and after that quote unquote WBC eliminator fight off a guy who was coming up from junior welterweight and a guy who hadn't fought in 2 years, suddenly that guy Keith Thurman becomes the number 1 contender.
Wow, you know what that is? Just to give him a shot to, for Spence. Sorry, Bucho, I cut you off.
No, that's it.
Well, I was going to say...
I'm sorry, go ahead, Bucho.
Go ahead, Chief, go ahead. We're all talking.
I agree with Bucho. He needs to knock him out to just silence who's... Because I'm the minority of where we think Boots Ennis is on this panel, but everybody's really getting a lot of traction behind him. I'm behind both of these guys. But if he knocks this guy out in spectacular fashion, a guy that's never been stopped, a guy that's never lost, a guy that's supposed to is hired to make him look bad. That's what this guy's here to do. Even if he loses, his job is to try and make him look bad, and it's Ortiz's job to try and say, "I'm better than you think," because I wouldn't make him make me look bad. Mm-hmm. And so if he comes out on top like that, then he should be the leading prospect.
Absolutely,
Yeah, I'm done.
Well, I got a little bit of a problem here because I agree. If he wants to fight the best or have a chance to fight the best, it's the BBC. They have Thurman, they have Spence, Jaron Ennis, more or less, indirectly. Stanionis, Butaev, those guys fight over there. But at the same time, how often do we have to wait for those guys to fight? I mean, look, Crawford is a free agent. Spence is with the BBC. That fight still hasn't happened. When we wanted to see Spence versus Porter, it takes a year and a half to make. Then another year, because of Spence, getting drunk and almost killing somebody in the road, he has to wait another year to fight Garcia. Then Keith Thurman doesn't seem to be intent on fighting any of the top welterweights. So even if you are with the PBC, those fights don't get made immediately. So if Ortiz goes over there, would they try to run him through the gamut like they do with the Mexicans over there, and maybe try to get him to lose by matching him with Butaev and Stanionis and all those non-American fighters before they actually serve him up to one of the American fighters?
Of course. Yeah, even if they would try to get the fight, they would make him sign a 3-fight deal, exclusive. That way, Al can get his 15% off his pay, and it would he would feed him whatever because he needs to get some time under the belt. I mean, come on, Christ. I mean, think about it, dude. They just had fucking Danny Garcia against Benavidez, and did you see the numbers? 400,000. Wow.
No.
Just wanted to say that. Yeah, 440,000 peak.
Oh
That's
my
terrible.
goodness. That's terrible for
Yeah.
premium cable. Oof.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if they actually acquire this kid, that they're going to try to tap into a market. Most of the Hispanic fighters, they do use as almost like cannon fodder, except for Leo Santa Cruz. They've been promoting Leo Santa Cruz for a while, even though he had a Tank Davis fight. That was kind of a pushing fight. If whoever won that fight, they were going to try and keep going with them, and keep because Santa Cruz does sell tickets out there, out in California, out in Texas. So, my personal take is, if they can get a kid that can get these knockouts and put fans of all ethnicities into seats to rally behind, they can build their bankroll because they don't have one off of this kid. Take the garbage out, which, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia can come back down to welterweight. All the used up has-beens that aren't going to do anything anymore. And, I mean, let's face it. What better thing to do it than a new young kid who's only 23 years old? Now, why aren't they doing it with Boots? Boots doesn't have the same momentum behind him across the public. The hardcore fans know who he is, and a lot of people, like I said, I'm one of them, higher on the kid, but he's like an underground fan favorite. Ortiz isn't. People know who Ortiz is. And so if he leaves Golden Boy and they happen to acquire him, I wouldn't be surprised instead of signing to a 3-fight deal like Jimmy's saying. I think they'll do that. But yeah, they'll throw the gambit at him, but they'll throw the gambit of easy, soft, used touches to build him up to be something else, because Spence isn't going to be around too much longer, and they're not going to be able to sign Crawford to a long-term deal. He's 35 years old.
Interesting.
Crawford himself pretty much only has 2 fights he's really interested in. This fight and Charlo. That's it.
That's right.
So
yeah.
if they need to start preparing for the future, and if they sign this kid, they may put their eggs in this basket.
And you know what? People love to talk about Tank Davis and how, well, he's fighting nobodies, yet he's still making that bank. Like Gonzalo said, get that money, baby, get that money. Well, Ortiz is in a similar position. I mean, if it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Ortiz might be fighting subpar opposition, but guess what? He's doing good numbers when he fights in Texas and all that. The Mexican public has certainly taken a liking to him because he's an all-action fighter with skill. Skill paid, but he's got the ultimate aggressive slickness to him. So, I mean, if Tank Davis can play the waiting game, I think that those same people that do that with Davis have to extend the same courtesy to Ortiz and say, hey, listen, right now he's on the wrong side of the street, as I like to say. Let him fight the best opponents possible for available to GBP, and let him make that money. Get that hustle, baby. Get that hustle, and
well, that narrative might play a little thin right now after what happened with Crawford. Remember? Crawford, you're on the wrong side of the street, baby. Comes over the other side of the street, knocks on the door, and they slam it in his face. But just got to say, too, that doesn't sound good. I mean, Espinoza, now, it's 50-50 that it's going to happen. You know what I mean? That was the latest thing that they said. And also, speaking of Crawford, did you guys know that his lawsuit against Bob isn't even a thing right now? He hasn't filed it back in court. Yeah, and Bob wanted to bring it to federal court. So he sent his lawyers to federal court to bump it up. They said no, it hasn't, or if it was attempted to be filed, there was something done wrong or whatever. So Crawford had to refile. That was over 6 weeks ago. Nothing's been done.
Well, hold that thought.
Did he finally have a smart? I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, hold that thought, because in the 4th segment of the show, we're going to be talking about what's next, what possible surprises you guys think we might have for 2022, and we're going to get into that. Shout out to Plutonium Loach, who says, boots on that juice. Virgil would boot him out. You know what? I think Virgil would probably detox him. He would probably detox the juice out of him. Now, listen, I think all top guys are on the juice. And if they're not, they should be. Put him on the same playing level. I don't care. But that's the other thing about Butsenis. He's on the right side of the street, and he's not getting the big fights. In fact, as we're going to see later on when we get into the surprises for 2022, I think it was Steve Kim. Somebody said on the Discord that Steve Kim is saying that this guy might only fight once this year. Ennis.
Yep.
Might only have fought once. So that's ridiculous for a guy that belongs to a stable that supposedly contains all those big welterweight names. Anybody else want to say anything else on Ortiz before we move on? No? All right.
No.
All right, fantastic. And by the way, hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. And we're going to be opening up the phone lines once we get into the later segment so that everybody can call in maybe in about 20, 25 minutes, depending on how it goes. I don't think we're going to spend too much time on the next two subjects, but let's see what happens. They just announced for September, Joyce versus Joseph Parker. That's going to be taking place in September, they're saying. Guys, what do you think about this fight?
12 rounds, Joyce. Parker doesn't do shit, and it's a boring fight.
Oh.
I mean, come on. Well, how many times have we need to watch this Parker guy? Like, not let his hands go. Just like, get out.
I give my vote to Bucho.
So Joyce
seriously, like,
I tend to agree.
I just whatever he said. So this is my segment.
Jimmy's been brainwashed.
I hate to say this as being part of a boxing show, but I don't care.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that much.
Exactly.
There's certain, like Steve Kim says, watch who you like and keep up with who you like because you can't follow everything. And I've got my own hobbies of boxing on the side that I work on with other people, like rescoring fights and writing, and working on a memoir with a mentor of a possible book that will probably never get published. But anyway, because of things that I do with boxing, I don't have time to watch two fighters that are never going to make the Hall of Fame. Don't register on my radar.
Wow.
So, well, Joyce might get a title shot at some point, obviously.
I don't pay attention to that, but he should already be getting one based off of what he's done so far. Even though it was skeptical with what he did to Dubois, that should have put him right there to be next in line. It's over Dillian White, in my opinion, because Dillian White's turned down title shots before while still being number one contender. And he still hasn't got one yet. When he gets a title shot, I'll watch it because I am interested in that boy. But to fight all the other second-tier competition has already been used up and put out by everyone else that's at the top of the division. I don't care.
Interesting. That's an interesting point of view. I got to tell you, I didn't expect. Gonzalo, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
I think Joseph Parker, he's boring, man. He's had a lot of opportunity. He's not quite as bad as Chisora because, the other dude's older. And, every time he goes up to the plate I guess it's like title opportunities, big fights, eliminators, he always loses. Joyce is being recycled. He's always getting these opportunities. Joseph Parker. He's always getting these opportunities, and he ends up losing. Now, is he entertaining? No. He's being paired up with a big dude that's kind of slow, but he's good. He's good, and I'm interested to see his ability a little bit more so I can really qualify how good he really is. Kind of reminds me of, that actor, Jaleel White, I think that's his name. It's a black dude that he's got this reputation of being this good fighter, and he's done clips in the past. He's done some good movies.
Oh, you're talking about
Michael Jai White?
Yeah, and that's the guy.
Spawn.
Yeah, that's the guy. And he did this video where he's with these. I think it might have been that dude that passed away, the guy with the
Kimbo Slice.
Yeah, Kimbo. Yeah, and he says, look, I'm gonna do something. Hit the hand, but when you swing fast, I'm gonna move my hand. So you pay attention. And I think Kimbo throws a hand and he moves it and he misses. And so Kimbo moves the hand and he misses once, he misses twice. Then the third one, he throws it like in half speed. Then he touches the hand. Now, I make that example to say this comparison. That's how Joyce throws punches. He throws them in half speed, but he's landing them. So there's something about his timing that even though he's slow, he's getting to the target, right? He's getting to the target. And I want to see a little bit more of that because if he's steady coming, he's landing the punch, and he's breaking these dudes down, that's some technique. There's some method to the madness. And I'm just curious to explore that a little bit more because he's pretty good.
You hit the nail on the head there because that's why listen, I respect the other guy's point of view because I'm the same way now. I can't be keeping up with every single. I try to rewatch them once they're on YouTube and all that, but sometimes when they're live, I just can't bother spending the time when I've got other things to do as well. But I am interested in this fight. I'm with Gonzalo on this one. I think it's an intriguing fight. Joyce, he is, for a lot of people, the dark horse of the division because of his size, his stamina, his chin. I don't think if he keeps eating shots the way he does, it's going to get to him at some point. It's going to wear him down, especially at his age. But right now, he's the dark horse of the division. Joseph Parker has quick hands. But I agree with Bucho, too, about Joseph Parker being a boring fighter and not really that worthy of our time. Because, listen, I know Lucas Brown I know Styles make fights. He's a puncher. Parker isn't. But there's no way that an old fighter of the Jews like Lucas Brown should be looking better than you against a common opponent in Junior Fa. And then you see Joseph Parker versus Junior Fa, one of the worst fights I've ever seen. I mean, it's just Joseph Parker really, if he wants to even tell us or give us the sense that, hey, we want to watch you fight, we want to pay watch you fight, he needs to put it together in this fight and give it his all.
So to wrap
I'd
up my
rather go
opinion
to
on
a
the whole
fucking
thing,
insurance seminar.
to not recant my opinion, put him on an undercard. This is not a main event to me. That's why I'm saying I don't care. If it were on an undercard to like this coming up weekend's fight with Ortiz, then yes, I would watch it. But I'm not going to watch him as a main event because there's nobody he's going to fight outside of a title shot that's going to interest me.
I agree. That's why I disagree. I disagree in the sense that I'm going to watch a fight. I'm going to be looking forward to it. But I don't blame you guys for saying, you know what? We've given Joseph Parker our time, our money. He shits the bed almost every time he fights. So why should we get excited for that? I guess I haven't learned my lesson yet. We'll see, man. Maybe after this fight again, if he gives us a completely boring fight once again, I'll say, you know what? But to me, this is Joseph Parker's last shot. I mean, this guy's got too much physical talent, man, to just count him out. He's got quick hands. He's slick. I mean, it's
next.
Yeah, just talking about him makes you want to have to take Adderall. I mean, fuck.
All right, you know what? That's
Jimmy's bored already talking about. Yeah, no,
he's just fight after fight. He shits the bed and he does everything he can do to lose. He just doesn't want to get knocked out. If you want to get me not interested in a fight, say, hey, Joe Parker's playing. You know what I mean? Like, come on. I'll fucking go clean the gutters on my house before I can watch him fight. I swear to God.
Oh, man. All right. So I guess we know you guys. Now we're going to know what you guys are going to be doing or not doing in September once this fight rolls along. All right. Let's move on to another subject here, and then we'll get to the main course of what we wanted to talk about. But Josh Warrington, he's going to be fighting a fellow by the name of Luis Alberto Lopez. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, okay, I don't know who this guy is. Why should we care about this fight? I tell you why. Watch Lopez's fight. Luis Alberto Lopez, to be more precise, his name. This dude is dangerous. This almost seems like a parallel to the Lara fight. He's a known Mexican, although he's been fighting on TV over there. He's fought in England too. He hits hard. He's a slugger. We know Warrington's a slugger too, and he cannot crack all that much. Forget the Kiko Martinez rematch. So usually when you got two sluggers and one of them can't hit hard and the other can, it makes for a complicated fight for the guy who likes the punch. You guys, this 126 also is a jam-packed division right now. We've got, hold on a second. We got Ray Vargas, who just won the title there. We've got Navarrete, who's in there. We still have Maxayo, who's a dangerous counterpuncher. The aforementioned Lara. We got Lee Wood. His negotiations with Leo Santa Cruz apparently fell apart. You still got Garcia Jr., Kid Galahad, Robesi Ramirez, Olympian who beat Shakur Stevenson in the amateurs and who can crack too here in the pros. Guys, what do you even know who Luis Alberto Lopez is? And if not, are you interested in this fight? Somebody.
I'm more interested in that than the previous fight we're talking about.
That's a good point.
Lopez, they call him the deer, el venado. He's real good, man. So this would be his title opportunity. He's already defeated Gabriel Flores Jr., the guy that just lost again.
Mm-hmm.
And he went up to England and he beat this dude by the name of Isaac Lowe. So the guy's been on a tear. He's had like 3 or 4 fights where he's been looking impressive. For an unknown guy, he's already building a reputation about him for like the hardcore. Now, this is going to be his breakthrough type of opportunity. If he beats Warrington, well, I think it's right for the pickings. I mean, he'll become a world champion, I guess, right? Because the dude that he's facing, he's got a belt. So yeah, he's entertaining. He's fun. He comes forward. He's got power. So yeah, I'm excited to see this fight.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it too. I guess there's not much to say until you guys watch him fight. But let me tell you something. Give it a go. Give this guy a look on YouTube. It might be a parallel to the Lara fight. You just never know. Just before we move on to that from this. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I was muted. I was going to say, no, I'm interested in that because actually I think it was you who talked about him. I know somebody talked about him and said, keep an eye on the kid, can crack pretty good. And to be honest, I'm not totally sold on Warrington. You know what I mean? Just, I mean, he's the one who lost to Kiko, right?
Yeah. No. Sorry. He lost to Lara. He lost to Lara in that upset in.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And you look at you look at Luis Alberto Lopez. He's his physical prime at 28 years old, 25 wins, 2 losses, 14 knockouts. But you look at his record; he hasn't lost since 20. Well, he lost in 2019. It's been it's going to be 3 years, and since then he's stayed active. Look at this, and a lot of knockouts on his ledger, and he beat up Gabriel Flores Jr. He knocked out Isaac Lowe. He just came off a tune-up and got a quick knockout in there. So keep an eye on this.
Is this a mandatory?
Could be.
Kiko Lopez is a champion, I think. No, I think he's got a belt already. Right?
Kiko, who?
Kiko Martinez, he got a belt already, right?
But he just lost to, what's his name? To Warrington.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so, but Warrington's got the belt now, so this is for a belt, right?
That's right. I believe so, yes. So it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. Keep an eye on this one. It's on August the 20th, so I think it's on the undercard of what's his name? Joshua and Usyk, or rather Usyk Joshua too. I want to give a shout out to Jonathan Lambarena for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, I've been praising Luis El Venado Alberto Lopez for a while. Look up his fights against Flores Jr. and Isaac Lowe. Real exciting fighter. Next IBF champ. A lot of people, from what I've been reading when I was watching his fights, a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but some people are saying, hey, listen, like Gonzalo said, Warrington might be ripe for the picking. This could be a bad style matchup for him. Again, he's a good... He's a little beast. He throws a lot of shots. He loves to slug it out. He's got a good tank. But we saw what happened against Lara. If he's in there against a slugger that can crack and he can't take him out, he's probably going to get taken out. Again, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, plus he's from Mexicali, Mexico. It's like really hot up there. I've mentioned it a few times. That's where like Andy Ruiz is from. That's an area of the world where I think real good fighters come out from.
Was Luis Castillo from that region?
He's close to there. He's from Sonora, so it's also like part of that desert, or if not, close to there.
Right.
Not really that far. Yeah, Sonora. And he also beat Tiburon Vences, right? These all are pretty good, like local fighters in the United States. Andy Vences, Gabriel Flores at Prospect, and he's upset those guys. Isaac Lowe in England. So yeah, we'll see, man.
And at 28 years old, he could be hitting his stride too, physically and mentally. So it's going to be a good fight, man. Keep an eye on that. Want to give a shout out to the Joker as well. Joker says, did you guys read the recent article about Juan Manuel Marquez turning down $150 million for a 5th Pacquiao fight? I didn't read that. No, I didn't hear that. First of all, thank you, Joker, for your contribution. Guys, did you hear anything about that? Is that a recent offer, or was that the offer right after the 4th fight? I'm going to Google that.
I thought it was $6 million. Back in the day, I thought it was like $6 million. $150 million, that's crazy money. Yeah, I don't know about that. But
yeah, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lie. Sounds like Porokua says. That sounds. How are they going to get $150 million? I mean, that was Mayweather Pacquiao type money, even more so. So no, that sounds like bullshit to me, man.
EDA, curious.
Yes.
Did you guys answer me now? Is that a mandatory? Was that a mandatory for Warrington? I'm just curious, because that seems like he just won the belt, right? I mean, it seems like a hard. I would just be surprised he's picking a kid that hard for like his first title defense.
Yeah, my answer was I don't know. But let me Google it while I'm here. Meanwhile, while I Google that, just to I want to give you guys the next topic here. By the way, hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. This is the other thing that really caught my attention. We were talking about Danny Garcia, who won last Saturday against Benavides. Some of us were less than impressed. Now Keith Thurman, who's talking about him and Danny Garcia, they're going back and forth a little bit on Twitter about a potential rematch, blah, blah, blah. Well, Thurman just said that what Garcia did at 140 plus what Thurman did at 147 means that both of them would be going into the Hall of Fame. Now, the Hall of Fame now today, the International Boxing Hall of Fame now is, their standards are way low. First of all, it's every 2 years. What is it? It used to be you have to be inactive for 5 years after retirement
Now it's 3.
Now it's 3. And the standards are, I mean, look, listen, we all love Arturo Gatti. He shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Neither should Barry McGuigan or Johansson, the guy who upset... Ken Norton's in the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Never won the title in the ring and never defended it.
See, there you go. So they're lowering the standards. So obviously, by those standards, those guys are going to get in 3 years. So don't be surprised if we see them in Canastota in 2028 or whatever. But what do you guys think? Should these guys, in a perfect International Boxing Hall of Fame, should these guys get in?
I mean, I love Arturo, but he shouldn't have got in. But he's even better than fucking Thurman. Way better his career. Much more exciting fights. The one claim to fame. Listen, the kid has had he's had only one loss, and he's talked about in gatekeeper status. He's talked about as people have a groan when you hear his name. He's fought once, right, over the last, or he fought Garcia in that sloppy boo fest, literally 5 out of 12 rounds. People booed. They just bolted for the door. People were leaving for the fight. It was horrible. And then he was inactive for 2 years. He came back, fought once, then went dark again for almost another 2 years, and they come back and lost to Pacquiao. But he's so, oh my God! And for him to continue on the Boots Ennis, who the hell is Boots Ennis? I never even heard of that dude. And right, keep on that fucking thing. And what I do is I check to see what they're reading. Are these people seeing this? Because so you go to his Instagram page, you go to anywhere he's doing his media, and you just read the comments, and people are all up in it. Fucking, what's up with Boots? What's up with Boots? And then the minute Danny goes out and beats a fight that, honestly, when I heard the opponent he was fighting, I was like, ugh, I knew that was going to be the fight it was going to be. You know what I mean? He's just not his brother. I hope now his father focuses all his energy on the kid who has a fucking serious future in the game. But anyways, just you hear him come out and then start talking this shit with having a rematch when you've been ignoring Ennis. You wouldn't even mention Virgil Ortiz's name. It's just so PBC. It's like so play out. How this fucking promotion still has a fan base? It's just beyond me. I'm done.
Danny Garcia, unified junior welterweight champion. Keith Thurman, unified welterweight champion at some point. No, seriously, does that give you some credit? Now I'm playing devil's advocate because there's going to be people listening to this and thinking about those things. What would you say about that?
Well, you got into the Hall of Fame, Danny Garcia, isn't that what he said? Think about it. He hasn't had a significant victory since 2013. He's never had one at welterweight. And they're talking about him being in the Hall of Fame.
He does.
Granados.
Yeah, he just beat depression. He just beat depression.
Oh no, yeah,
exactly.
Fucking Gonzalo.
Seriously speaking,
even the crying with your children in the audience.
Come on, yeah. Danny Garcia, but hold on, Danny Garcia. His best win was that Matisse win.
Almost 10 years ago.
Because a lot of
which was 10 years ago,
2013. Now, when he won that fight, how many belts did he get? It was a unification fight, right? If I remember correctly.
Wasn't it 140?
I don't know.
I don't think Matisse became a champion until he got the regular belt that Manny won off of him.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't even a unification fight. It was no, but hold on.
I've been wrong before, but I don't remember Matisse having anywhere close to a legitimate belt except for the regular quote unquote belt that Manny won off of him.
Am I wrong, or wasn't that at 140 too?
It was at 140.
Oh, it was at 140. What did Danny Garcia accomplish at 140? I'm gonna check it out because I forgot.
That was it, Matisse.
Well, it wasn't terrible what he did there. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it was Hall of Fame worthy, but it wasn't terrible. He was never undisputed like Crawford was, but he fought some of the top names that were there at the time. Okay. And some can say that they were better than what Crawford faced at 140. I'm not going to argue that, but that's the extent. One weight class. Now,
all right, Chief. Let me just give you quickly: Nate Campbell, Kendall Holt, Eric Morales. Come on, twice. Amir Khan. That's when he won the WBA and WBC junior welterweight belts.
I think that was the unification fight. Yeah.
Right, that was the unification basically. And then he fought Sab Judah past his prime, Lucas Matisse, and then Mauricio Herrera. I think that was a 140 or 147.
That was a 140. Lost that fight. That was
Was
a
it
140.
Puerto
It was his
Rico?
last
Lost
fight
that
at 140.
fight. Yes,
That was his last fight at 140.
destroyed
And some people probably
Salka.
lost that fight.
Destroyed Rod Salka. Fought Lamont Peterson, and I believe
In
that
a
was
fight most people thought he lost.
Catchweight, 143.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Paul Malignaggi, Robert Guerrero, Samuel Vargas, Keith Thurman, Brandon Real, Sean Porter, Adrian Granados, Ivan Redkach.
Yeah, and that was a horrible fight. Listen. My point of view is this: Danny Garcia's career post 2014 is completely subpar compared to what he did prior to that. That being said, we have to judge a guy by his accomplishments and not what did he do lately. But even
Mr. BDA.
But
what was those dates? What was those dates again? I'm sorry. What was those dates again?
No, I said post 2014, everything he did was subpar.
Okay.
Well, I mean, he had a good career. I mean, I'm arguing that for the Hall of Fame, you need a lot more than this.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Danny Garcia's a bum or anything. Like, his career is pretty good. He did. He fought a lot of contenders, but it's not a Hall of Fame career.
Well, listen.
Mostly because it's only one division. I mean, when Roberto Duran, if I could say this real quick, Roberto Duran was already eligible to, most people would say would have been for the Hall of Fame off of lightweight. He had 12 defenses. Danny Garcia doesn't have that kind of a body of work at 140.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's a good. You bring up an interesting point there. First of all, what would we judge? What are our standards for a Hall of Fame career? I'll give you mine real quick. Obviously, the level of opposition and the context. How did you beat him? Did you beat the odds? Did you lose and then come back? Did you win titles in multiple weight divisions? If not, how many times? Like Chief said, how many times did you defend the title? Danny Garcia won. Prior to 2014, good career, consistently beating good guys. But after that, he just went downhill, and his three biggest fights afterwards, lost to Keith Thurman, lost to Sean Porter, lost to Spence. He's a bit like, don't hold me to this, but I'm saying his career is very Rocky Lockery-esque, like Rocky Lockery. So he had better wins at 140. And he was looking like a future, pound for pounder. But then afterwards, he just became a contender, which again, like Bucho said, there's nothing wrong with that. He doesn't mean he's a bum, but is it Hall of Fame worthy?
Because he moved up out of weight.
He came short. Let's look at this. Like when he had to beat Keith Thurman, he lost. When he had to beat Sean Porter, he lost. When he had to, he was fighting Errol Spence. He was the underdog, but still, if he would have won that fight, he would have given him some credit. He lost that fight. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at that win against Matisse and Amir Khan. Amir Khan. Let's put it in there if you want. That's not enough, and that was a long time ago.
What do you think?
BDA mentioned that he looks like Rocky Lodridge because Rocky Lodridge was crying in that show.
No, that's not what I meant.
Well, guys, think. I was going to say with Danny too, though, right? Listen, he said about his mental illness. He was talking about in interviews. He keeps saying they say I was a gatekeeper. They said I was a gatekeeper. Who's they? It's the fans. He's reading the shit people are saying about him. And if you said because I wanted you to repeat the dates because I wasn't sure if I heard you the first time. I went back. Funny, coincides perfectly. All his golden boy time. Is what we're talking good. The minute he went to the PBC, the minute he jumped over to the PBC, his career went down the fucking hopper. Yep. And it's just kind of funny, right? You go look at with a lot of their fighters because look what they started doing. Remember when his father came out and said, "Why would I fight that guy? When he can fight Rod Salka for $1 million?" And people are like, "What the fuck, man? You don't say the quiet stuff out loud, dummy."
Exactly. And they cashed it. Let's on a business perspective. Listen. Ray Mancini's not in the Hall of Fame that I know of, and for good reason. And with all due respect to him, a great fighter. Enjoyed watching him growing up. Extremely exciting. Not a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. Danny Garcia is this generation's version, or a close version of Boom Boom Mancini. Mm-hmm. Exciting guy. Been in a lot of tough fights. You couldn't just pack a bag lunch and expect to go home, a champion against this guy. You're going to have to fight because he is talented, but he's not great. And because of that, when he stepped up to welterweight, it showed the fact that he was a solid junior welterweight, and he probably would have been a all-time great junior welterweight. He couldn't make the weight anymore, and the money was at 147. And those guys were too big for him. he just couldn't hang with him. And when you actually get into the weeds and the nuts, his first fight with Eric Morales, a 36-year-old, I do believe, junior featherweight at the time by nature, took him almost life and death, even though he had a swollen eye. His eye was almost swollen shut. That was a war the first time. Now, Danny got better and clearly won the second fight. The first one was an all-out war. It shouldn't have been. He was in his prime. Yeah. He was a young, upcoming lion, and then against a faded warhorse, they had 3 wars against Barrera and wars all the way down at
featherweight.
At featherweight.
Well,
and it wasn't
always loses.
No, wait. Barrera was the first one was a junior featherweight. So I mean, this guy was. But look, I mean, anyways, let's move on. Mr. BD, I think we're spending too much time on Danny Garcia. Maybe we just touch upon.
Let's go to Keith Thurman now.
Yeah, the instigator. The instigator of all this.
Keith Thurman.
Yeah, he started all this.
A perfect guy. One time. Yeah, I mean, his power showed up one time. I was never impressed with him coming up. I watched him. I saw all these knockouts. And I can't wait to watch this guy. I saw his record and everything. And I watched the way he fought, and I watched these guys get stopped, and it was like on the stool, or maybe the ref took a second look after a knockdown. It wasn't like these highlight reel. Arturo Gatti, even though we all agreed the fact maybe he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, had much more highlight reel knockouts than Keith Thurman's ever had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a good point.
And another thing, since we're comparing a guy that we don't think, even though he is and shouldn't be in, Arturo Gatti had Fighter of the Year like 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. These guys have never been in Fight of the Year ever.
Mm-hmm. No.
So it's my mentor Enrique, who was Hank Kaplan's friend from the Hall of Fame, said it's not the International Boxing Hall of Accomplishments; it's the International Boxing Hall of Fame. And Gatti was famous when he may not have been a pay-per-view star, but when he was on HBO, after he got the highest ratings all the time on Boxing After Dark, and that's including over Barrera. That's including over when Floyd was on After Dark. That's including all of them. He always had the highest ratings. So there's a level of fame and accomplishment to what he had. These guys don't have those.
I agree with you.
Exactly. And when somebody trying to be smart is going to be saying, well, these guys were famous. I mean, were they famous? I mean, no. The answer is no, they weren't famous.
To us,
like a
but
Toro.
I knew frat guys in college that would say, hey, let's get together tonight, get some beers and watch the Gotti fight. I mean, nobody.
It was an event. Everybody paid attention.
Right.
Yeah, here's famous.
Nobody invited me over to watch Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia. Nobody ever. Not because they didn't like me, but because they weren't watching the fight.
Here's
famous.
Not
if they liked you.
Here's famous for you. We're still talking about Arturo Gatti. Are we going to be talking about Keith Thurman? Are we going to be talking about Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman in 10 years? 15 years?
And I'm not trying to really be funny, but it's true. Even in death, he was famous.
That's right.
Arturo Gatti, yeah.
Yeah.
Arturo Gatti. Like
Mike Tyson said he was the most exciting boxer, most exciting fighter was Arturo Gatti. Tyson said that on a few occasions. He always went to Arturo's fights because they were wars. The kid didn't care. A little abrasive in the street, but it is what it is.
But here's my thing with Keith Thurman. All right, so, we were just to simplify it, record, right? Accomplishments, that's what we're talking about. And how did he do it? So what did he do? He was a hotshot prospect coming up, beat guys like Luis Colasso. He beat, what's the other guy's name? Quintana, who, a little good, solid southpaw who had pulled off a couple of upsets. But really the core of his resume is, of course, Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. He struggled against Sean Porter. Some people felt Sean Porter actually won that fight. Then he beats Danny Garcia, but it was a bit of a stink out there in the after the 6th round. He just, especially the 12 where he spent it running. So for a while there, for a period, he was the best welterweight in the world. Now, do we let a guy into the International Boxing Hall of Fame because he was, for a brief period, the best welterweight in the world? And those 2 wins? No. I mean, Errol Spence already...
He's not in the Hall of Fame yet, and he was the best welterweight in the world at one point in time who had a win over every belt holder in the division.
Wait, who?
Over Mark Breland, I think over Simon Brown, and I forget who had the WBC at the Lloyd Hunnigan, and he'd already beaten Lloyd Hunnigan. So he had no belt. He was still a contender in that division, had a win over every champion, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Who did you
Fernando say? Fernando Vargas should get ahead of these guys.
Exactly.
I mean, Tim Austin.
I even agree with that.
I mean, Tim Austin and Mark Too Sharp Johnson were guys that for a while they were looking like gold. Those guys haven't been in there as well either. They haven't made it in.
Well, Fredo Vasquez is not in the Hall of Fame.
Keith Thurman is another prime example. His career was so much better when he was with Golden Boy. That's when there was all the buzz around him. It's just follows the same game plan. And Keith does have power. Same type of thing with Danny. Like Danny Garcia is just real strong bodily, and his best attribute is his toughness. Whereas Thurman, he's slick. But we all saw the change when it was against Soto Coras, right? He got rocked and he changed. He became the back foot boogeyman. Remember? He stopped putting his weight over his front foot. He did it occasionally if he thought, he had the opportunity, but it wasn't his game plan. Before you just look at his fights, go back and look at his older fights. Completely different. Weight up over that front foot and cracking, because at the time he never got rocked. And once him, it shook him hard because something changed in his brain. Like he did not want to get knocked out in front of people, and he changed his game plan. And he's been for the most part, a boring fighter. My thing is abrasive wench.
Oh no!
All
right, hold on. Phil, sorry about that. I think we're back. Hold on. Can somebody please double check while I'm doing it? Because sometimes
I'm gonna check.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Yes, we're back. All
right, we're back. Sorry about that, fellas. It was not my internet this time. It was something else. So, not my fault. How about that? All right, we were talking about Keith Thurman. All right, listen, fuck Keith Thurman. He's a guy that's very
fuck it.
vociferous. I like him as a fighter for a while there. And he fought most of the good fighters, but listen, we're just shooting the breeze here and saying, no, those guys aren't Hall of Famers. I also wanted to bring something up here. I forgot to mention this because we were talking about Danny Garcia earlier, and I should have brought this up. I forgot to bring this up earlier. This is what happened. So remember, he backed out of the McKinson fight initially because he had an injury on his biceps, supposedly something that was very dangerous for his health. But then there were rumors that it's because he wasn't making weight. Well, apparently there was one reporter in particular on Twitter that was saying that, and he got on the Zoom press conference to ask what's his name, Ortiz a question.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. Hold on, let me play the clipperoo here. Hold on, where is it?
It's in the beginning part of the interview.
I'll play the audio.
It's the first question.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was trying to put the video on the internet. Anyway, here we go.
We'll start with the rhabdomyolysis. Obviously that's what caused the initial fight with McKinson to be postponed. What have you learned from that whole situation? And, have you adjusted anything in training to avoid that sort of situation again?
I've learned a lot of things, and especially things like interviewers and reporters talking about stuff that they don't know, especially on Twitter, including you. And for that reason, I will not be answering your questions today or ever.
Of course.
So that was Virgil Ortiz saying, because of the things you said or insinuated about me, I will not be answering your questions. Now, fellas, what do you think about that? Was Ortiz in the right for correcting a reporter to his face, or is it his duty to work with the media? Who wants to chime in on that one?
Well, you're supposed to work with the media. Jimmy, you go first.
Oh, I was just going to say, first off, now I don't recognize that guy, but honestly, it's up to the fighter if it's going to hurt his brand. But if this guy's talked and did him dirty, you know what I mean? He at least was upfront to his face. I'm not going to have to deal with you the way Fury did with Setback. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, if he doesn't want to talk to him, he doesn't have to talk to him. That's my theory on the whole thing, especially the guy did talk shit about him.
I mean,
but it shows he's paying attention too. Sorry.
That's true.
That's true. It's true. It does show he's paying attention. You should work with the media to an extent, but the media, you don't engage with the media if it's supposed to be like an argument back and forth. If they wanted to do an interview and you have the chance to set the record straight, then go ahead and do it. But don't fall into the bait. Don't fall into the trap of starting to argue with them because you're a fighter. It's not your job. Correct the situation. But if you feel insulted by it, just because you also have the right to free speech, you also have the right to remain silent. You don't have spreading in his brand, especially if it wasn't factual. Then he said as much as he needed to straight, or what he felt was that he needed to straight, and then he just left it alone. And did it hurt him? I don't think so, because I think his ratings are still going to be fine coming up. So if he makes a habit out of this, it can become a problem, but not necessarily at this particular interview.
Okay,
Who was
apparently
the
with-
interviewer?
Because it depends on what the interviewer or the writer or whatever has said, right, in the past.
Right. Well, that's the thing.
I mean,
what I gather,
because there's some fighters. Sorry, go ahead, Gonzalo.
No, it just might have been something in relation. I'm just speculating, but I think it might have been something in relation to him maybe not being able to make weight, and something that how somehow that's related to the disease or the ailment that he got, because he couldn't make weight and having to sacrifice to cut down. That's why he's getting sick. I'm just thinking.
Right now, Jimmy asked.
But I don't want fighters to not want to talk to like for example, remember Floyd at some point he wasn't talking to some reporters. He was only talking to a specific one, like the Fight Hype, or some of those.
Like Stephen A. Smith or somebody else.
Yeah, is that what you want? Is that what we want? Yeah, I mean,
well, I can't be a hypocrite because Marvin Hagler was one of my favorite, obviously, all time, and he hated talking to reporters, and he didn't do it often.
No, he did not.
Well, okay, just because Jimmy asked the good question about what and who and what did the guy say. Now I had because I was looking for that. I actually had that tweet, but then I lost it here. Okay, but here. Let me give you the timeline of what happened. So the guy's name, the guy that Ortiz said no to, was O'Hara Sports, at O'Hara Sports on Twitter. I think he covers more than just boxing. Now on Twitter,
there's MMA. Yeah.
Okay, so on Twitter, this woman goes, boxing with spicy, and she says, reporters should censor themselves and kiss your ass if they want an interview with you, Ortiz. How petty of a person are you? And then Ortiz replied, you can take everything you just said and shove it up your ass. He was out here saying that I pulled out because of weight issues without knowing the entire truth. Actually, take everything you said and tell it to him because he's the one that should do his research before saying stuff. Now, it brings up an interesting question. Should reporters just go around... did this guy preface what he said about Ortiz dropping out as saying, hey, I heard a rumor, or did he speak about it as if it was fact? But either way, should Ortiz be pissed off with reporters doing their job and putting things out there, whether they be rumors or whether they be facts? He's essentially...
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. A reporter is only supposed to put out facts. Gossip lines are for the Inquirer. Real reporters do their research. They put out facts. You can try and dispute it all you want to or get a press agent to try and beat it to the media and everything else, but a real reporter is supposed to get the facts, put it out there, be critical and objective. That is what real journalism is. Yellow journalism is trying to paint a story off of something by taking partial truths and turning it into something that nobody else is writing about, especially since it's not true. Then it's not the fighter's job to have to defend themselves in the ring and out of the ring. So, like I said, that's what I liked about Kelly McEnany when she was the White House press secretary. She'd tell the reporters their job. You're supposed to be reporting on this, 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 and this. Go research it and come back and talk to me. That's what to my opinion, that's what he should do. You should be reporting on X, Y, Z. Go do your job and come back to me when you're ready.
I agree. But now that's the problem we're in here with boxing, because there's the line between what a journalist is and isn't has been blurred ever since the YouTube came about, because you got guys like Ellie Sackback, whom people will call a reporter, but then again, he gives his opinions freely. He calls Fury a crackhead, from what I understand. He gives his opinions about who he likes and dislikes. He doesn't like Joe Rogan. He doesn't like Tyson Fury. He doesn't like Conor McGregor. He's got grudges against those guys. So is he really a journalist? I mean, he's obviously biased, and he skews his questions and his views based on those biases. So he's not a real, but that's what boxing has become now, unfortunately. It's anybody grabs a camera and interviews a guy, oh, he's a reporter. It's like being a boxing trainer. Anybody can be a boxing trainer. There's no actual, you get a press pass, you're a reporter. So I get where Virgil Ortiz is coming from, but may I just add one thing here about that is, it's a symbiotic relationship between fighters and reporters. And that extends to the world of entertainment as a whole. They need each other. Look at Terence Crawford. People talk about, well, he's making good money and all that, which is true. But how much more money would he make if he were actually a more presentable guy and if he actually cooperated with the media, which he does not? And let me give you another example. Beyond boxing. George Clooney, for a while, I think after Princess Diana died, a lot of people were blaming the paparazzi for that because, they claimed that they caused her car to crash. So years later, people started really fighting back against the paparazzi. One of those guys was George Clooney, and he was really starting out a harsh campaign against the paparazzi. So what happened? One day he shows up to a red carpet event. I forget what it was. And all the people there in the press row, all the paparazzi, all the photographers, they turned their back on him. And he was left standing there like a dumbbell. So what happened afterwards, little by little, he started reaching back to them and everything was hunky-dory. But that's the thing. They need the media. And the media obviously needs these people to report on. So I think these fighters should be hesitant to cut off these reporters.
You know what I noticed? You know what I noticed? These these reporters keep asking the boxers, and if you notice that second or third question in that interview, Ortiz responded saying, "You guys asked me the same question like 1,000 times."
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I've noticed, that a lot of the times when they ask these boxers something, they ask like these fucking annoying questions, and what these guys are asking is almost like they want to answer these questions like clickbait, like not like clickbait. Things that they can put up on their interviews about a certain subject that's irrelevant to the fucking boxer, that makes no fucking sense, just to create sensationalism. And these boxers are like tired of it, and that's the way Ortiz responded on the second or third question in this interview. And in regards to the weight thing, I think maybe it's a good thing that he put a stop to it, because, like I said, they keep asking him the same things over and over again, and with the subject so delicate to where he's already stepped on the scales and have to like re-step on that scale again. And now this thing came up with the ailment that he suffered. You really want to like stop that, because you create a bad reputation for yourself. And if people keep asking this doesn't look good for him. So might as well just like say, I'm not going to answer these questions anymore in regards to that, and move on. Because it's dangerous when you can't make the weight and you're having to cut down and you don't have a title yet and you want to stay in that division and gain a title. It doesn't look good for you, because there's people that are like dropping off and like they're fainting, right? When they try to make the weight. But he's saying it's not that.
That's a good point. I mean, if they're spreading rumors, but that's again, I really have to see what the guy said, because if the guy said, "Hey, Virgil Ortiz can't make the weight, fellas," or did he say, "I'm hearing rumors"? I mean, you can put out a rumor, can't you? And just say, "Hey, this is the rumor that's."
I just went to his Twitter page, O'Hara Sports, and I punched in, checked his history with Ortiz, and he's got a pretty extensive one. Personal interviews, like inside the, his room, looked like it was before a fight. He was in there interviewing him. A lot of Twitter interactions, a lot of hyping him up on Twitter. It seems, I think they might be live locally. So it might be something personal there too, because I couldn't find him saying anything too much about that weight that would have set off that on Twitter. But so yeah, I think there might be some. And Ortiz is someone who does get in people on, especially even on Twitter. We even called the show before. His name is Jack. His kid on Twitter, and big on boxing, big Triple G fan. Anyways, there was a big thing. Like Ortiz started really ripping him up on Twitter about loyalty and like saying stupid shit. So he's very active. It seems to be on social media. So I don't know how deep this goes with this kid. Who knows? I'm just saying it seems like an odd thing to suddenly say I'm cutting you off.
Yeah.
For just because he mentioned something about his weight. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Could be nothing too. Could be maybe in next fight they're gonna reconcile, or even after the fight. Who knows? But I mean, that's just. Listen, that's like Floyd Mayweather kept saying. It comes with the territory. It comes with the territory. That's what when you're a fighter. Hey, listen, you want to be on TV, you want to make the big bucks. You got to deal with the media. It's unfortunate for you guys, but yeah,
it's something maybe to pay attention. Let's see how Ortiz's character. If he's looking a little like angry. And maybe I can translate into the ring. We saw it with Kambosos. He got angry. He got a little reckless, right? He got a little reckless. We're gonna see how moving forward, and like in his career, if he can kind of like dial it down and stay composed when he goes in for like these kills against like these good fighters, because he looked a little reckless, and now we're gonna see like if it's just an extension of his character.
You're absolutely right. It's true. We'll see. He seems to have a bit of a mean edge to him. He doesn't want to take shit from people. So we'll see what happens now.
Emotional, I would say. Honestly, I'd say emotional. He seems like an emotional kid.
Yeah, could be trouble. We'll see what happens. Fellas, before we continue, don't forget to hit the like. We open up the phone lines. The phone numbers in the middle. No, sorry, not in the middle. In the bottom portion of your screen. And I want to give a shout out to Amak PvP for his contribution with the super chat. He says people need to stop calling Danny Garcia Swift. His middle name is Oscar, and he isn't Swift. Therefore, his initials are DOG. I always wonder why it was. Oh, no, wait a minute. DSG. Yeah. Okay. His initials should be Dog. All right. Well, maybe. We never know. Maybe you could get that trend started. Just go on Twitter and just keep spamming that, even if they kick you out. Shout out to Rex for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, Keith Queef Thurman. Oh, come on. Queef. And he puts the gas sign there. Come on. A lot of people are very, very vulgar tweets. And then, of course, shout out to Amak PvP again for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, Queef Thurman's career is on Kmart layaway. Oh, come on. All right, so we know what people feel, how they feel about Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman's careers. Right there.
One more thing, BD, as far as in regards to Virgil Ortiz, remember also that I just remember because I read the comment on the chat that he's never going to give that guy O'Hara another interview. Remember when he fired Robert Garcia, right? Then he went over to Reynoso, and Reynoso wasn't there. Then they booked. They didn't want to train with Reynoso, so they got a little edge to them. Him and the father. We just got to pay attention to that. I mean, as boxing fans.
That's a good point.
It's kind of curious.
No, Gonzalo, you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. Something's going on here. But still
exactly. Emotional.
Virgil Ortiz remains a beast, let me tell you. Before we move on to the speculation about what's going to happen in 2022, don't forget the phone lines are open if you want to call in. We got to touch on the little drama that's still going on with Hasim Rahman Jr. and Jake Paul, the third biggest name in boxing. This is what's going on. So Hasim Rahman couldn't make the weight. And Jake Paul said that. He came out first on social media with a statement. Hasim Rahman was behind, and he had to, come from behind and say, hey, no, he's bullshit, and I can make the weight. They gave me all these obstacles. But then people were saying, fucker, if you couldn't make the weight and you're at 230 and you have to lose 25 pounds, why did you agree to it? Now, apparently, Hasim Rahman Jr., even though the fight's off, he's going around saying that he can still make the weight. And not only is he saying that he can make the weight, he's saying he's going to make the weight. This is one of the tweets that Butcher dug up here. Here's Hasim Rahman Jr. He says, somebody was telling him, Rahman sent a video of him weighing 216 or 217 pounds before he signed the fight to prove that he could make the weight. Obviously, that was not the case. And then Rahman replied by saying, the first official weight, check the day of the press conference, I was over 220. Come on, bruh. Stop believing everything you hear and look at the facts. So he's saying he's bringing facts to the table. Then he tweeted, Ryan Garcia went at him too. And he said, if you sign a contract, what did he say? If you sign a contract to fight at a weight and then later decide you can't because reality hit you, that's on you. Don't agree to something you knew you weren't capable of. Then Hasim Rahman replied, I told the truth. I didn't pull out with some BS. My mind's not right for boxing excuse. You've been soft, boy. Get the fuck out of here. So everyone's against him. And then Isha Smith came back as well, chiming in. He said, how much weight have you lost since the contract was signed? Where did you start at? Let's clear the air, bro. Good questions. Reports have you at 232 or 230. Dan Rayfield is saying that you signed at 216. What is what? Hasim Rahman replied by saying, bro, how long have you been in the sport, actively competing? How the fuck am I going to be 216 when I just weighed 224 a month before they called me and coming off a loss? When the fuck you ever seen anyone do that? They acting like I haven't done everything to make this fight happen. Another tweet, somebody telling Hasim Rahman, bro, 21 pounds is a lot of weight, especially for a guy who has never went this low in his career. I don't get why commission checking in on his weight. Is this normal? And sorry, I'll never ever believe this kid backed out of a fight with Jake Paul. This was an easy payday. Okay, so this guy, Pipe God, is saying he believes Hasim Rahman. Then, okay, Pucho knows how to pick the tweets. Shogun Malik says, Young Buck, let it go. Stop responding to these tweets about you. Move forward. It's an opportunity missed. It happens. People will come for you regardless. It's no need to keep explaining your position. So you see a lot of people have different views here. At the end of the day, everyone's changing their mind about what they're saying. But one thing we know for sure is Rahman himself is claiming he was overweight. He's not denying that. He's placing the blame on Jake Paul for going after him when he was overweight. But in other words, if you're overweight, whether somebody's trying to take advantage of you or not, if you can make the weight, why sign to make the fight in the first place? I don't get it.
Well, it's actually even worse than that, BDA. It was first up, it was the commission. The New York Commission is pretty strict about they have standards. So if you're signed to have a fight, right, at 205 pounds, and just 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out, you're at 230. They're going to say, that's not enough time. That's not enough time to take the weight off, safely, where it's not going to affect you in the fight. And supposedly that's what happened. So again, that's not even up to Jake. They're the ones who said that. Okay, they could have tried to move the location. That's another whole mess. But what I don't like about Rahman is this broad who manages him. She gets on and she's doing an interview in her front seat of her car, and she's like, "Yeah, they try to fuck us because right." She says, they were offering Tommy Fury $2 million, and they're going to pay us $250,000. Like, what a fucking slap in the face! It's like, did you say that when they handed you the contract? When you signed it, you know what I mean? Like, you signed it. Your fighter signed the contract. Now it's a slap in the fucking face. Now the weight's an issue. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Your boy just got knocked out by Tommy Morrison's son. I guarantee you on the ugly side of 100,000 on your payday. 250,000 is more than this zipperhead has ever seen as a pro. So the fact that she's coming out and hopping on, when they try to distract you with shit that's just like shaking keys, like, oh, I'm going to try to make something else. I can distract everybody's anger about the weight that they were trying to fuck us overpay, and not having the intelligence to realize that's just another thing that makes you look stupid. But that's my take on that.
Yep.
No, you're right, Jimmy. I mean, you sign a contract, and then afterwards you want to bitch about it. I mean, we've all seen guys that get offered a fight. They don't like the Spurs split or whatever, and they say no, and then they air out their grievances on the air or on social media. This guy didn't do that. He signed the contract. He goes to the press conference, makes it seem as if everything's going to happen. By the way, there's an undercard too, or there was. Amanda Serrano was going to fight a bunch of other people. People are investing time and money into this. Then all of a sudden, this guy goes, "Whoops, I can't make it," and you're at fault for knowing that I couldn't make it. But you signed the contract. So in other words, if at least say we're all at fault. But no, he wants to make it seem, as far as I know from what I'm reading, he wants to make it seem as if it's Jake Paul's fault that this fighting happening.
No, but I don't care how old this kid is. He's obviously over the age of 18. Is well over the age of 18. You know your body by now. You know if 205, 200, whatever, under 210. And you're walking around, or usually you're walking around over what you fight at, and you fought at 220 to 230 in your last fight. You know that you're not getting down to 200 pounds. You know it. You know that you're not getting down there unless you're living off of all protein shakes and fiber and nothing else, and sitting in the sauna for 3 hours a day, only to make the weight, not training for the fight, just to try and make weight so you can make the appearance. You know this already, and you signed the contract. And so 2 weeks out, you can't make the weight. It's not like Floyd, who was only off by 2 pounds. You're off by what? What's the report? How many pounds is he off by? 20?
Well, they didn't say all they said was the commission said it was too much to lose at the weight he was at. They didn't say anything specifically about that. I think he was just trying to get him to burn it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, but point is, I guarantee it's more than 10 pounds. I guarantee it's more than 10 pounds. And you know, when it's hard for you to make weight, even if you're a heavyweight, there's a certain target weight you want to go in at most of the time, because you know that's where you're in your best shape. And if you're having trouble getting to that point, and it's above the weight that Jake Paul's giving you, and you signed the contract, how are you going to place this blame on anyone other than yourself? You saw dollar signs, or your manager talked you into it, the two situations, and you're trying to blame everyone but yourself.
Yeah. In the future, I would say that Jake Paul, man, he shouldn't try to make it so hard to try to get a fight where he's going to handicap these guys, because that looks bad on him too.
That's true. That's absolutely correct.
Well, I think it looks worse. I think it looks worse on Showtime. It's Espinoza who really kind of pushed this thing along, and it's shame on them that they couldn't even fucking give a Jake Paul fight. They're in the Jake Paul business. They invested a lot of money. That's the thing. I'll tell you right now, that's what Rahman was doing. He figured they got so much money involved with Serrano on the undercard. This is a big thing. They have everything, the payments have been made, the down deposits, on the arena, everything. He figured they would probably let them move the weight up to, I believe, was he trying to get it to 205? It was supposed to be 200. But then again, if Jake, because he used to spar Jake, I guess, if they knew they could make the weight. Like Jake, so Jake offered to fight the kid at that weight. If that kid didn't think he could make it, like you said, then he should have said no. So it's not like, is Jake really handicapping people? Because it's a handicap if, you're forced to do something. Mm-hmm. It's a decision if you're not, if it's on you. So that guy could have just said, no fucking way, I'm not doing that. Find somebody else, sucker.
I just think, like, here's a comment on the chat. It says, why is Paul fighting overweight people? I just think that dude's kind of big. It would be real hard for a large guy like that to cut down to 205. He's naturally a heavyweight. Some of them, he might be a little fat or whatnot, but those guys, they're big. And sometimes that extra weight just comes with the package. They're never going to fucking cut down to, like, under 200, 205. They're just big.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, like Chief said, this guy wasn't gonna make. It's like he know. Look, a fighter knows his limitations. I just think maybe Rahman thought, hey, at the end, a week before the fight, I'll tell him, hey, I can't make the weight, and I'll pay a fine. All they'll allow me to come in to lose as much weight as I can, and then just make the fight happen that way. I don't. And apparently, there's rumors that this guy, he's done similar things in the past, that he doesn't train hard. And here's the other thing: this is a good shot for a little money. It's more money than he's going to make against anybody else, because let's face the facts, he's not that good a fighter. He lost against Tommy Morrison's son, and I dare say that Tommy Morrison on 8s would have knocked him out any day of the week. So he should have taken the fight, or he should have tried to make the fight happen by losing the weight. He didn't. I don't know who's going to touch him now. Eddie Hearn had some comments to say about how this just goes to show you how difficult it is to make fights happen. It's not like anybody can just come in and say, what to do? I'm going to make an event and we're going to get a lot of people. It takes work. It takes experience to see the obstacles that could arise, unforeseen consequences, and how to deal with them. And, Jake Paul's learning. But this just goes to show you what a circus this fight has been, or what was going to be. Real quick, we got a phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Let's go to 951. 951, you're on the air. 951, what's on your mind? 951, you're on the air.
I think he hung up.
No, sorry. I think I got him on mute. Sorry
Hello?
about that. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Boom Boom Guy.
Oh.
LDBC.
Oh.
Am I coming in clear?
Loud and clear, Boom Boom. What's up?
Crystal.
All right. Yeah, I want to tell Jimmy, this is a handicap. Jake Paul is a smart man. He's not a boxer. He's a sideshow attraction. You pick Rahman coming off a knockout. Why not go for the guy who knocked him out? Or one better, why not go for a guy that's closer to the weight that you want him to fight him at? I think Rahman had good intentions on making the weight, but he realized if you look at Rahman, he doesn't have a lot of fat. So if you're telling him to come down, you're basically, Jake Paul's smart, you're basically telling him to lose 20 pounds of muscle. And I think Rahman realized he was getting weaker as he was trying to lose the weight, and he said he'll rather take the fine, or at worst case scenario, there was supposed to be a replacement. But Jake Paul didn't even want the replacement because they had a replacement, because this was a big concern that he might not lose the weight. Everyone knew about it. I mean, you're asking him to do something difficult. So I think Jake Paul didn't want to fight healthy Rahman, even coming off a knockout. And I don't think the ticket sales, like Dana White said, I don't think the ticket sales was there, or he would have took the replacement.
Yeah, the sales weren't there from what I heard. But the thing is, though, bro, every fighter, Virgil Ortiz, I guarantee you, has lost 15 pounds of muscle getting ready for this fight this weekend. But he's not used to it. Rahman, a heavyweight, has never had to eat muscle to get ready for a fight. And nobody put a gun to his head. You know what I mean? It's on him. He knows he could have. But every fighter goes through those pains. That's part of the thing that's going to probably push Jake out of this. Because eventually he's going to realize, I'm a millionaire for goofing around on the couch. Why the fuck am I putting myself through this and getting punched in the face? It is a sideshow. I was just trying to say what Rahman did made himself look like a donkey. That's all.
Well, there was, they had stuff in the contract where, I guess he thought maybe me not losing the weight, I'll just have to pay a fine and the fight can go on. Or worst case scenario, there would be a replacement. So I don't think, he wanted to cancel the fight. I think he was saying either I'll pay the fine or you can fight my replacement. But to cancel the whole event, I think there was more than, a weight issue. And to answer the question before I get out of here, what's left in 2022, there would be the third undisputed champion, which I do believe the Spence Crawford fight was going to happen this year. And there will be a third undisputed champion in 2022. One being Jermell, the second being Haney, and the third being the winner of Spence Crawford. They're all black, but who's counting, I just think it's a wonderful year for boxing. And I think Kambosos retires after getting beat by Haney. And I think Haney and Loma wins both of their matches in October, and they fight next year, 2023. So that's all I had.
Well, listen, stay black, and thank you for calling in, man.
Oh, yeah. Be black.
All right. Take it easy.
But we're crediting Spence for something he hasn't done yet. So
no, Jimmy.
Three black fighters. You know what I mean? It's just
he's got that melanin. He's gonna make it happen.
That fight ain't happening this year.
All right, listen. Shout out to
well, he's gonna say real quick too. Speaking of black, did you know that Savannah Marshall she wants to be black?
Yeah, that's
what Clarissa Shields tweeted that out, and it was a big fucking who-to-do over it. But what an abrasive individual. Because if you had at least the class to say, okay, there's certain norms right now. Obviously, black people can say whatever they want about white people with impunity. I know that. So I should have the class to at least do something that she can't do back to me. Because if Savannah would have said, come on, girl, you just wish you were white. Imagine what would have fucking happened. And then to double down and act like, I didn't do anything, tough shit. Like, just come on. What an abrasive wench.
Wait a minute, Jimmy, are you telling me you as a white guy, well, half a white guy because you're half Italian, but as a white guy, you don't want to be black? Is that what you're telling me? You don't wish you were black? You don't wake up every morning saying, man, I want to have that jive?
It depends. You Sicilian?
I am Sicilian. That's the part again. Oh, yeah, no doubt. Absolutely.
Yeah, you seen the movie True Romance?
Oh, come on now.
Oh, no, I know what my bloodline's got in there, brother. I know very well. My northern Italian friends let me know all the time. But
listen. Even people.
Anyways,
Shields she's an abrasive person. So I read somebody tweeted that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago on Twitter. Iceman Scully, the trainer and former fighter, he said, I'm hearing a lot of bad things about Clarissa Shields, and with the little I've interacted with her, I tend to agree with it. And some people were defending her, saying, well, you got to keep in mind that when people go up to her for autographs, sometimes it's a lot of people. And people were saying, but wait a minute, she's always like that. Not just when she's in events and signing autographs. Which, by the way, how many people are actually going up to her for autographs or taking pictures? She's just an abrasive personality, regardless of race. Nobody really likes her. And I'm not just saying that as in the high school sense. If nobody likes you, just listen to what people say, people who have met her say. I was listening one time to an NPR interview, or piece rather, where they were interviewing. It was like a mini audio documentary about her life. This bitch is in her house. She's screaming at everybody. She's talking about herself. Then she takes 2 minutes out to scream at her nephew. I mean, she's just, I don't know if she's a bad person, but she seems like somebody that you would not want to hang out at the minimum. And
self-absorbed.
Yeah, self-absorbed. And how many of those have we seen? But, it's when she says, listen, if you want to get it, take it to an extreme, when she says that whole thing that, she wishes she was black, unfortunately, and I've seen this with a lot of black people, I think she's projecting. I think she's sort of saying, she wishes she could change her skin color. That's all I'm going to say about that. Moving on.
Oh, all right. I just wanted to say the hypocriticalness of like today. She tweeted out a picture like in a spandex onesie. I mean, she looked all right and shit. That's the thing. She talked about how she has a big ass. It's obviously she's selling a sexy part of herself, which is whatever. That's what women do. I have no problem with that. But to come out and have none of that article boxing, it's because it's sexism and women selling sex is what's ruining the sport. Like all that's just like, stay on point with one thing. But there's a video actually. I don't know if you guys saw it about her. So to break it down, I mean, in her burner account, that Barbara, whatever, her Twitter, she has a burner account. Somebody proved it was hers. And she said nasty shit about white people all the time on this account. There's a video out of her when a white kid comes up and he's the goofiest white dude, does the whole fucking soy boy wide open mouth when he snaps a picture with her. She won't even make eye contact with him, won't even look at him. And then she turns to a black dude, all smiles and fucking talking with him. It was just, and it's slowed down. Like, I'll get it because somebody just DM'd it to me actually actually today. It was kind of shocking. I'm like, wow, if that doesn't say exactly who I think she is.
I'm
That's funny. That's what Don King did to me when I met him at the War Memorial Auditorium.
Really?
He was signing a black kid's autograph, and I walked up to him to thank him for bringing the Vorpin guy, fought Will Grigsby. And I was going to thank him for bringing him over because I was wanting to see him. When he turned and looked at me, this sneer was on his face. And I was like, I mean, and he's a big man. So when he looks at you and it's not very nice, even though he was probably 60 years old at the time, it was still an intimidating situation. I just kind of backed away from one, kind of, thanks for putting the fight together, turned around and walked away.
You know what happened, maybe? Just playing devil's advocate here. The fact that you brought up Vorapin, he knew this motherfucker's a boxing nerd. Maybe he doesn't like boxing nerds. Maybe that's why he gave you that look. I don't know. I'm just saying, Chief. I'm just saying. Maybe you should have, you know what you should have done? Apparently, he loves talking about money. That's if you would have told him, hey, how much, something about money. Hey, I heard you made a lot of money. He would have gone, that famous donkey.
Or if I would have painted my face green, maybe.
Exactly, yeah. If he loves money, man, and with that famous Don King cackle, he would have started laughing and you would have gotten along. But you had to bring up Vorapin, Chief. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Sorry. I had to bring up a Thailand guy that nobody knew about but me.
But you know what, Chief?
What's his name suing him, right? He didn't get paid.
Oh,
he won the first bid for that fight. Yeah, he didn't pay him.
Yeah.
I just want to say too, when we had Clarence Bones Adams, former bantamweight or super bantamweight champion here, he said that when he went up to Hagler, Bones Adams is a white guy, by the way, just for context, and Hagler was his idol, and he went up to Hagler, and Hagler was like, yeah, I'll talk to you later, like he was busy or something, and then he just went to talk with a bunch of black people, and he just left Adams there in front of his wife, I think, in front of Adams' wife. So that's what we were talking about when we had Adams here on the show about how maybe sometimes it's not a good idea to meet your idols, as they like to say. But anyway. Chief, what was I going to say here? Oh, I got to read a super chat here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. And the phone lines are open if you want to call in. Shout out to Amak PvP who says LDBC means Learning Disabilities Bigotry Channels. Yeah, that's what they are, man. And we're always on the lookout to see what they say because they're always good for a laugh or two. By the way, somebody in the chat said that Iceman said, Shields said that Ring IQ is disrespectful to women's boxers. Now, I got to tell you, that is indeed quite a statement because Ring IQ is the only guy that's covering female boxing, or one of the few guys, if there are any other people out there. And for Shields to say that, I guess it's because he's picking Marshall to beat her. And that would fall in line with the type of Shields state of mind. Like if you pick against her, that means you are against her. It has nothing to do with stylistic matchups or who you think is a better fighter. No, it's got to be personal. It wouldn't surprise me if one of these days Shields claims that Ring IQ is a racist. That seems to fall in line with her line of thinking as well. All right, listen, let's talk a little bit about how long have we been on the show for? Anyway, let's talk about, well, listen, fellas, we've had a good year of boxing. I was reviewing it the other day. Man, we've had unification fights galore. We've had some wars. We had upsets at the highest level of boxing, and we still have 4 months to go. Now, 4 months to go, usually when fights are set for the last 2 months of the year, they're usually announced at the latest September. At the latest. We're already in August. Fellas, I just want to, we already have some fights planned. We've got Usyk versus Joshua. We've got Shakur Stevenson's going to be fighting Conceição. We got Golovkin, Canelo 3 in September. So those guys are already tangled up. We don't know if they're going to fight in December. Maybe they can squeeze in a fight. I'm sharing the screen here with you fellas, and I'm going to put a picture of the guys that we can talk about. First of all, let's go with Tank Davis. They haven't announced his fight yet. Some people claim that it might. I thought it was going to be a rematch with Isaac Cruz, but Isaac Cruz is going to be fighting in a couple of weeks on the Luis Ortiz, Andy Ruiz undercard. So, guys, what do you think is going to happen here from between here and the end of the year for Gervonta Davis? Anybody want to speculate?
I think it was a rumor that they were going to pit him against that dude that looks like Muhammad Ali, some South American black kid.
Some South American black kid? At 135?
He looks like Muhammad Ali. Yeah, 135. He calls himself the Muhammad Ali. That's his nickname.
Are you talking about Martin? Are you talking about Martin? No, that's not him, right? No, Martin's black. He's not black.
Martin.
No. Anyone know who he's talking about?
Drop his name.
Okay,
somebody. BBC.
If somebody in the chat knows who he's talking about, somebody in the panel, but anyway, who wants to go? Like, what, Bucho or Jimmy? Like, what do you expect from Tank Davis? What do you think is the most likely scenario for him? Who's he going to fight?
Well, do you want me to go? I was just waiting to see if everybody had their 2 cents. I'll put mine in if you want.
By the way, just real quick, people are saying Michael Rivera. That's the guy's name, a Dominican. But yeah, go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be either someone we don't know, and or it's going to be somebody we go, God, listen. I mean, it's just to the point of defiant about it. I mean, they're trying to convince people on Twitter, and now when you're all right, when your promotional style is this, when you're talking about your stud, there's more to boxing than the hardcore fans. When that's your statement as a promoter, there's something seriously wrong. Think about that. This kid doesn't fight amongst boxing. What he does, he only uses boxing to attach his name to guys he's not going to fight. Guys, by his own admission, he's never even asked about fighting. And then he pulled that whole, I'm leaving Floyd. And it was too many things I was saying, look, they're tweeting saying stuff. I think this is a scam. And it was, just to get more attention to that fight. This kid's hook, line, and sinker on this. We're going to shuck and jive, smoke and mirrors. And, what are they saying? For the culture, that was the last thing I think I read, how... that's what it was. Ishe Smith speaking of his tweets that he's the most popular fighter in America, and it's because of the culture, whatever the fuck that means. And but no, it is what it is. He's basically a world star video stretched out over 12 rounds, and he fights on the periphery of the sport. I'm embarrassed that I was so high on that kid at one time. I mean, I really liked him. Like, he was on my pound for pound list, meaning I put kids on the pound for pound list. Those are the ones I want to see. That's how I make up my pound for pound. And I was, after the Pedraza fight, I thought, I should have realized, but, being with the PBC, but I didn't think they would take it to this degree. And I have no respect for the way he's handled his career or for the way they've promoted him. I'm done.
Interesting. And that's saying something. Because I remember, man, 3 years ago, or even 4, I want to say 4, 2018, I remember you recognize Stu, Precise, Bucho, Gonzalo. We were all here. We're like, well, what about Tank Davis? And I remember Stu specifically, he would go, Tank Davis is a real beast in there. I'm high on him. And then fast forward 4 years later, Bupkis, he has not, maybe he's built himself a nice profile where he can fill up certain arenas. Forget about the pay-per-view. People will go, he's a pay-per-view star. We don't know that. We don't know what the actual numbers are. But in terms of the gate, okay, he's making good money. But again, how much money could he have made, if you don't care about legacy and you just want to focus on money, how much money could he have made if he already fought Lomachenko, Haney, Ryan Garcia? I mean, I know you can point the fingers at... Right, I mean, I know they can point the fingers at other people and say, no, they don't want to fight him, blah, blah, blah. But look, Lomachenko, we know he'll fight anybody. He doesn't create any drama on Twitter or negotiations. But we know for a fact, another fact here, we know that it's Mayweather who's been saying, we want to keep things in-house. He's not ready for Lomachenko multiple times. So at the end of the day, like Jimmy said, all fingers right now point at Tank Davis for not advancing. And now he's fought once against a failed prospect in Rolly Romero. And he might not fight. We got 4 months to go. They got to announce something. It's not going to be a big fight.
And I never seen a fighter in his prime not gun for like the actual titles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's the deal with that? I mean, is it a Mayweather thing that doesn't want his fighter to eventually outshine him? That he's making him fight these fights to make him look less than what he can obviously probably like achieve? I don't understand.
That's a good question there about whether it's Mayweather's bizarre psychology, because he's obviously got a psychological and sexual hold on Tank Davis. Now, how far that goes on either side, I don't know. But yeah, go ahead, Jimmy. Yeah.
Well, I gotta say something I forgot to add too with this. All right, know how he's always it's about his location, about how many tickets they sell, right? Mm-hmm. That's really the only thing Floyd seems to be so focused on. Not surprising that you find out him and Al Heyman have been fucking professional scalpers. They're buying up huge allotments of tickets, having other people invest into this thing. Remember, he's being sued for it. So that's why it's so important for him to sell a lot of tickets. Like they're making what they can off the kid. They're trying to pack in certain things. But at the end of the day, his fight has lost tens of millions. Kambosos got $10 million for fighting Haney. You can't tell me over these years, especially he's built a little name right now, if they were to fight, he'd get $10 million for any of those guys you just mentioned. Lomachenko, Haney, Stevenson, $8 to $10 million that fight his purse would get. That's 3 fights for him, 4 fights. He's getting $2 million, and they say upside, or $1 million, 1.5 plus upside. There is no upside. These fucking pay-per-view numbers are horse shit. They lie about sellouts. Listen, if they're willing to say, sellout, we had a sellout. Well, no, you didn't. The place holds 21,000. You sold announced attendance at 14,600. How the fuck is that a sellout? So if they're willing to lie right to your face about that, you don't think they're going to sit there and lie about the pay-per-view numbers? You know what I mean? Of course, and they can't open up the books, right? If they're going to fight anybody, got to see, okay, let's really see the numbers you do. And then they'd be able to see. So they're not going to do that. It's in-house. Ride or die. That's it. They're going to burn this kid out.
What a great breakdown, and what a shame for Tank Davis, because he certainly is a guy that has, that eclectic mix of speed, power. He does have some skills, and it's all going awry by hanging out with Floyd Mayweather. And I do wonder, like Gonzalo also said, does Mayweather have some sort of a psychosexual hold on Tank Davis? One can only wonder. And yeah, man, like I said, hey, 4 months left for a fight. So if they announce it within the next month, you think they're really going to be able to rush a big fight in between? Let's go to a phone call here. Ah, shit, somebody dropped out. All right. Well, don't forget, fellas, the phone lines are open if you want to call in. Give us your opinion on this. Anyone else want to say anything else about Tank before we move on to another fighter? All right. Let me read a super chat then here real quick. Shout out to Kenshiro for donating with the super chat. He says, Jimmy, guys think you were serious R.E. Robinson on Twitter. What's he referring to, Jimmy?
Oh, somebody said that Errol Spence is the top 2 greatest welterweight of all time.
Oh.
And I said, and I tweeted, quote tweeted above him, oh, absolutely. And if he beats Crawford, Sugar Ray Robinson's going to have to give up that mantle. So, obviously, I was being sarcastic. But yeah, no, of course, it got a bunch of people. Oh, you're high, man. It's like, really? Okay.
Well, listen.
It's funny because a bunch of people did defend me, but it's just funny.
Yeah, sarcasm gets lost on Twitter. And I mean, I saw that tweet, by the way, and
it was pretty heavy, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, whoever said that about Spence, anyway. Shout out to Amok PvP for his contribution to the super chat. He says, Tank Davis will go life and death with another Las Vegas no-hopper. Tank is on the Walmart clearance shelf rack. Hashtag procrastinating boxing club. Oh, the procrastinating boxing club. I like that. Amok PvP. Shout out to Amok.
Nice.
He calls it the PBC Procrastinating Boxing Club. And I also like how Hawker Mustang calls Tank Davis. He calls him Septic Tank Davis. I mean, these people, I don't know what they call
Jesus Christ.
All right. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to Amok. And all right, I want to bring up another thing here, because we're talking about what's next for the last 4 months of the year. It's been a good year. I like it. And it might get even better in the last 4 months. Usually the year ends with a bang. These last 3 years have been that way. Deontay Wilder, rumors are that he's back in training. Now, back in training could mean for a fight next year, or it could mean something. Because Jimmy and Gonzalo and Bucho, isn't it true that that's what the PBC does? Sometimes they squeeze in fights at the last minute. So would you guys be surprised if all of a sudden, within the next couple of weeks, we see a fight announced for Deontay Wilder? And if so, who could the opponent be?
Wallin, something along those lines. It'd have to be a pay-per-view. Has Showtime even announced the fall schedule?
No.
Huh. There you go.
Yeah, it would be him or the guy that beat Kaunaki the last time, the Norwegian dude, the Nightmare.
The Turk?
Hellenius.
Hellenius, or probably
Hellenius.
The Turk you just mentioned.
Oh, the guy. Okay, you mean the guy that just beat Nowaki right now, the fat guy?
Well, both of those guys.
Right.
Hellenius and Derisen.
Well, they were saying that it was. They were talking about Hellenius probably, which would be a dangerous fight as a comeback. I don't know, man. You know, like if somebody mentioned Wallin, that's another hard fight. Coming off of 2 beatings and almost a year layoff. Because if he fights, it's going to be October at the latest, which is pushing it. November, December. It's going to be a year since he's been off. He's not that... I know heavyweights tend to age better than the rest of the other division fighters, but I don't know, man. He's fucking coming back against those guys. So if you had to bet, guys, who do you think he's coming back against this year, if he comes back?
The Turk. There's a reason why that's Al Heyman's thing. He always puts on the fight. You know what I mean? Like, it was going to be the winner of that fight. You know, and now that's to them. That's all they needed. He just beat Kanaki, so this is his opportunity, and they're going to feed that bucket of blubber to Wilder to knock out, and then like he's already WBC #1 ranked, which is just the height of absurdity. And then they'll feed him that fucking. Oh my God, that dude should have been in a tough man competition. That's the type of shape he was in and the way he fought. It's terrible. But that's the typical Wilder opponent. It's the type of guy who knocked out his entire career. It's the reason why a cherry pick throttled him.
Well, I'm conflicted because if he does fight that bag of milk, we were talking earlier about, at which point do we stop watching fights live because we got other stuff to do. And this one, I'm a little bit conflicted because obviously on paper, horrible matchup. You would expect Wilder to just take him out of there. But I do love myself a good knockout. Would you guys spend the time to watch this fight live, knowing the inevitable, but just to watch the knockout or no?
No, God, no.
Gonzalo, Bucho, anybody else want to chime in on this one?
And it would be a pay-per-view on top of that.
Oh!
You would have to. There's no Showtime schedule, right?
I mean, hey, listen, even Luis Ortiz versus Luis is going to be Fox pay-per-view. That's all they've got with Fox, pay-per-views.
What a sin.
What a sin, absolutely, man. Shadow Combat says, hell no, he would not watch it. AJR says no. Everyone's saying no, no, no. All right, so there you go. That's Deontay Wilder. Once a guy that used to get our imaginations flowing every time he fought because we didn't know what was going to happen. Now we don't even know if he's going to fight this year. And if he does, Jimmy's saying he's probably going to fight Fatso Turk. So that's Deontay Wilder right there.
Yeah. Yeah, in relation to Fatsos, the fight that ideally I would want to watch is Andy Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah. Well, listen, hey, by the way, Gonzalo, you think Ruiz makes it past Ortiz?
Yeah, I think so. Ortiz is older and he's slower. Ruiz got fast hands. He's going to get under Ortiz's jab and throw them hooks. I think he'll win. Possibly stop him.
I agree with you, but then again...
He's going to fade the conditioning. The stamina is probably going to, he's going to tire out Ortiz.
I agree, but then again, Ruiz, although he's faster, he fights at the pace of an old man. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but I'm intrigued. But I am boycotting some of the PBC cards lately, so I'll manage to...
Didn't he go life and death with Areola?
Yes, and Ortiz went life and death with Charles Martin, so... that just gives you a picture of the heavyweight division after guys like Joshua, Usyk, and Fury. That's it. Let's move on from the heavyweights here for a while. And I don't think we need to spend too much on this guy. Demetrius Andrade. Apparently, I didn't even know, he's no longer with Eddie Hearn. He was challenging Chris Eubank for a fight. He was going to fight Zach Parker. That fell through. Then 2 weeks ago, the WBO announces that he has to fight, there's a purse bid for the Janibek fight. Guys, what do you expect? I know you don't care, but just humor me for the sakes of the show. What's next for Andrade within the next couple of 4 months? You think he's going to fight before the end of the year? Or?
Well, I'm interested because he's a local guy and I'm interested in this. After all the shit he's talked, if he dumps this belt, right, Janibek, and just hands this kid his belt, this kid has zero credibility. Might as well just piss on the fire and call the dogs. That trip's done. Seriously. After fucking years of jerking everybody off, this excuse, that excuse. Yes, Charlo, he seemed like he really wanted to fight him. He chased down Canelo, of course, trying to get that, like a scavenger. He didn't deserve it, didn't earn it. Mm-hmm. But, whatever. He just went down and made a scene. But now all of a sudden he's a kid, but I'm not going to, because, the upside isn't financially worth it, so I'm going to dump my belt. Or you could have built a legacy. Didn't he already duck this kid once? Didn't he already duck him? Was this the kid he fled 160 from?
Janabek.
So, I mean, he's already ducked. Yeah, so come on. And Janabek straight up, I want to fight him. Let's do this. Mm-hmm. So he wants to end the hype on him. So, if he doesn't, how can you support this dude? That's
absolutely. It's a great point, Jimmy. We should be talking about Janabek. What's next for him? But it's just that, Demetrius Andrade is an interesting case because, again, people swear by the fact that this guy is the boogeyman and all that. Even not True School Sports. What's the name of? Yeah, True School. Yeah, who's he knows his boxing and all that, and he was pushing Demetrius Andrade, but now I think he made a video where he was sort of questioning, well, what the fuck is Andrade doing at this point? I mean, I know listen, Andrade is talented. Don't get me wrong. He's a hard guy to beat, but if you can't light people's imagination up with your fights in the ring, you're clinching your way to decisions and the last 4 rounds. I mean, what do you expect from people? And he's going to be 35 this February, in a couple of months. So the clock is ticking. He's a guy that relies on his reflexes, on his speed, and those things are only going to get worse from here on out. So, I mean, this guy, he went through with various promoters, for various channels, various networks, and he's only fought once this year? How many times did he fight? Let me check. I think only once.
How many legitimate opponents has he faced total?
Oh shit, he hasn't fought through his career. He didn't fight at all. Jimmy, he didn't fight at all this year. My goodness gracious. Unreal. Yeah. You took the words out of my mouth, man.
And he supposedly enjoys the nightlife. So
no
at 35, and like you said, he's totally on that's his game, is his reflexes. That shit's just you find out in the ring too. That's a terrible time to realize that your mind is telling your body to do something, but your body doesn't react.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You're absolutely right.
He's already looking to cash out against the likes of the Eubank Juniors of the world. Even worse than Thurman and all those guys. But this guy didn't really have the meat and potatoes of a career. His resume's not that good.
Gonzalo, you just reminded me, this guy, he's the black Billy Joe Saunders. If something happened with Golovkin, for example, and Canelo said, fuck, I can't fight you in September. Hey, let me offer Andrade a fight in November or something. Give him some time to get prepared. And Canelo beat him. I wouldn't be surprised if we never hear from Andrade again if he would lose to Canelo, because I think, like you said, he's cashing out, and hey, do you know what would make for an interesting show? Andrade Hall of Fame. do you think he would make it to the Hall of Fame? But anyway, we'll save that for another episode. Oh, hold on a second. Do we get a phone call? Yeah, we got a phone call. Let's go to 520 here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. 520. You're on the air. 520. What's on your mind?
How's it going, man? I just want to say that, he hasn't fought nobody. I don't know why he thinks he deserves anything from Canelo. He has a payday or anything like that. It's ridiculous. There's plenty of people in his own division that he could fight. Like everybody's saying, he's ducking Janabek. He's not doing what he can to make a unification with Charlo. I mean, they just want to pick and choose. They're scared of losing that O. And that's the biggest problem with these fighters, that, they think that once they lose it, they're going to be nothing but a memory, which pretty much they are. But I just wanted to give my prediction for this weekend's fight.
Absolutely.
I got Virgil Ortiz by stoppage either on the 7th or the 9th.
Interesting. All right. 7.
Do you think
it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be tricky to get there, or?
He might look at, not as confident around the first 3 rounds, but Virgil, and his team do a lot of good, research and know how to do, good game planning. So I do believe that he will stop him either the 7th or the 9th. I don't think the 8th, but yeah, man, I'm excited. I had tickets when it was supposed to be here in Los Angeles, but unfortunately they rescheduled it to Texas. So I'm just going to be watching it at home,
All right. Hey, listen, that's good, man. Yeah, it should be, at least that's what I like about Ortiz, is whoever he fights, at least he's going to try to take him out. So it should be a fun little night of boxing with him. 520, anything else you want to say?
No, there was a video from I think Fight Hub saying that Crawford was saying that it's getting closer and closer, and I know we've been hearing this Crawford-Spence Crawford fight for a while, but if both fighters are saying that it's pretty much almost a done deal, do you guys really believe we're going to get it this year?
Who wants to take that one? With the Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, you guys think it happens this year?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because Crawford literally
I'd be shocked if it did.
Yeah, because the caller is saying that supposedly, I think Spence said, like it's happening soon, something like that. Is that what he said, the caller?
Crawford did. Yeah, Crawford said that.
Oh, Crawford. Okay, well, there you go. So he's Crawford supposedly. Again, more statements like that. So, but yeah, caller, none of the guys here think it's happening. I'm staying positive. I hope it happens, but it's not looking likely, man.
I want it to happen too. I'm not trying to be but it's just it's going to get harder because pretty soon it's going to get into a type of boxing season that's not normally popular. You don't use it around Christmas time or after Thanksgiving. They tend to don't put big fights on then. So I'm just surprised it would happen this year if it does. But that shit's already old.
Yeah, I agree, man. Well, listen, caller, thank you for your call. Call back next time, Rahman.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, man. Take it easy. By the way, I think it was Shazar in the Discord. He wrote a long post that said it's 2030. After we're in the age of the post race war of 2025. The world is in chaos, blah blah blah, but still rebuilding from the chaos, blah blah blah. And Errol Spence comes out with a statement saying that the Crawford fight will happen. It's like, I was laughing my ass off. He was painting a nice picture of dystopian 2030, and the fight still hasn't happened by then. So. That's what it's looking like. Listen, we all hope. We're all boxing fans. We all want to see that fight. It's one of the best fights out there. But it's gotten way past Pacquiao Mayweather levels here. Let's go to another fighter here. All right. So I was gonna mention Spence Crawford, but we've already touched on that with this call. All right. This is an intriguing one. David Benavides, the boogeyman of the super middleweight division, guys. He's aligned with the PBC. It's really Samson 70s porn star Lukowitz who controls him. Do you think we see Benavides before the end of the year? And if so, who's the most likely candidate?
Well, I want to see him fight David Morrell because he's with the PBC. He's kind of on heralded. He's got a lot of buzz, but he's only got like a few fights. But he's really good. He's talented. So I want to see him against that guy. It would be kind of like a crossroads fight between two contenders.
Now that's the fight.
I know Benavides was a champion before, but he don't got a belt right now. And
right now,
was he a champion at 60 or 68?
You talk about Benavides?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 168,
right?
168, always 168. Yeah, but Gonzalo, you said that's the fight.
That's the contender status.
But Gonzalo, you said that's the fight you want to see. Now, realistically, who do you think is going to be the guy that's going to step in there against him?
Probably like I don't know if it's got to be PBC. I can't really tell you because I don't know who. Because 668, it's not. There's not a lot of fighters to begin with. It's already like there's not so many fighters in that division. But now we've got to reduce that to how many fighters at 68 are with the PBC. There's not a whole hell of a lot. But like at 68, if you would tell me to pick from all the stables, I think maybe like a John Ryder. I don't know. I would say I'd say like a David Morrell, I guess, or maybe like a Danny Jacobs, somebody like that.
I'm telling you right now, man. If they put him in there against Morrell, that's gonna be like a Charlo Lubin type scenario. He's not ready for Benavides, and even that's saying something because Benavides really hasn't beaten anybody of note either. So, but just in terms of relatively or relatives rather and levels, he shouldn't be taking on Benavides. Jimmy or Bucho, who do you think Benavides fights within the next 4 months, if any? If anybody, rather.
I don't know. I mean, the Jacobs fight makes sense. It's a big name. But unfortunately, Jacobs has... I mean, he should be like retiring at this point, I think. I mean, that fight against Rosado, to me, was terrible performance. And you showed me that Jacobs past his prime, way past his prime. So yeah, it would be a good fight for the PBC to make or whatever, whoever is managing this guy. But the fight, obviously, the Morel fight is also a very good fight. I would like to see that. I don't know if they will make that fight at this point also, because maybe they want to do something else with Morel.
Ideally, Pucho, the fight to make would be the Caleb Plant fight. But how many years have we been speaking about that? It's not even a super fight. It's not a super fight. But come on, why can't we get that fucking fight?
Listen, you're right. I mean, even Jamal Charlo, is he actually staying at 160 or is he moving up? He could move up, challenge himself, and take on David Benavidez. Because nothing's really moving at 160 right now. With Canelo and Golovkin fighting each other, and then you have the WBO champ in Demetrius Andrade, who didn't he drop the belt? I don't know what he's doing. He's moving up or something. So yeah, there's nothing happening at 160. So Jamal should be looking at moving up in weight.
I'll be right back, folks.
Yeah, I don't think Jamal. I'm gonna say this it's true. I don't think he'll ever. Mark my words. He'll never fight David Benavidez ever. He will never fight him. That fight will never take place. Guarantee it.
Why?
Because he's in his eyes, and it's kind of true. Benavidez is a big dude, and he would never beat him. In his mind, he knows he can't beat him, and he would get stopped. Because Benavidez is talented, but not only that, he's a big guy.
And can I add to that the reason why he wouldn't fight him? It's not that if the money was right, he'd get knocked out by anybody, meaning like he'd take on Canelo. He'd gladly take that $10 million. The thing is, Benavidez doesn't bring that kind of weight behind his name. There's not that money. And because of that, I mean, his last opponent, Benavidez's last opponent was 17-point underdog. So he's got to do something better. Here's the problem. He's managed by Lukowitz. This dude's a zip ahead. He's talking. He wants start at $7 million for an Andrade fight, for a Plant fight. Against those type of dudes, it doesn't. The negotiation starts at $7 million. Clearly, that's laughable, and it's not going to happen. So this is what we're at. There's a reason. To his credit, so I don't put. A lot of times I'd say it's just as much on the fighter. He tried to go to Bob. He even got a $250,000 signing bonus. Had to give it back, but he tried to flee from them. I think he saw the writing on the wall. What was going to happen? They're going to price him out of all the big fights, and he can look good knocking out the David Lemieux. Guys being brought up from a different weight who are past their prime. It's none of this is doing him, getting him prepared for a eventual Canelo fight. None of these opponents. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's true. So you're basically saying that Benavidez is being held hostage, right?
No, exactly, Bucho. He is, and and his style of fighting is conducive on regularity. Like you want to fight a lot, especially with that style. You know what I mean? It's all, when you only deal with inches inside fighter type dude, and you just want punch resistance, and they call it the punch calluses to your face. It just makes a difference. And you fight infrequently. I mean, all right, don't take my word for it. Look at the PBC. The minute a fighter over there reaches a certain echelon of headline status, we'll start at that. Name me one PBC fighter who you can't say, or you can say that they've actually progressively over the years since 2015 have gotten better and not worse.
I've mentioned this. They cannot create fighters. They cannot discover fighters. It's true. A lot of these fighters that we're talking about now, they're reaching their mid-30s.
Hey, think about it this way, man.
Part of the Golden Boy camp.
Golden Boy had Canelo. Even though they did poach him early on in his career, but when he was 20, they got him when he was 20, and they made him a mainstream star. Top Rank created De La Hoya. He created Mayweather. He didn't really fully create Manny Pacquiao, but he did take him to the superstar, beyond boxing, mainstream level. Has anyone at the PBC since 2015, since they started, have they taken anybody into that stratosphere?
I mean, we'll talk about Ennis, but is he really PBC or he's not he's not an Al Heyman fighter, right?
No, he's not.
Ennis. And he hasn't really done
He's
that
a
much
Showtime
either. I mean, he's a Showtime fighter, and even then, I mean,
Management of Gary
prospect.
Shaw.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so he's not part of the Al Heyman thing. All right, so yeah, really, who have they turned into a star?
One worse, they've actually gotten worse. Their talent level. I mean, Errol Spence. I mean, yeah, he beat Ugas pretty soundly, but to me, he seemed like he got hurt more by a guy who has a very low knockout ratio. He got hurt to the body a couple of times. You see him got shook once to the head. I don't know, man. You get older, your punch resistance goes down. Excuse me. And when you don't fight, because when you're fighting often, you're also sparring more. And I don't give a fuck what sport you're playing. You get better when you play a lot. You know what I mean? And simple as that. You know, one of the reasons the Patriots always won is they practice more than any NFL team. They practiced.
Yeah, and if they're going to freeze Benavidez out because of the lack of opposition, I would just move up to 75, man. There's more fighters in that division. And I would challenge for a title. I'd face freaking Dimitri Bivol, right? Because also the 68 belts, they belong to one man, and that's Canelo Alvarez. It's kind of interesting to see what he's going to do with all those belts. And I don't think that Undisputed, it's designed, I mean, because we're barely seeing it now. I don't think it's designed for you to keep the belts and keep making these defenses with all the titles. Somewhere along the line, you probably want to get rid of them. Because you've already achieved it. You made the mountaintop. Get rid of the belts and have it to where it's more fighters are fighting for those belts. You know, open up the playing field again.
It's a good point, man.
So is the plan for Benavidez to get a Canelo fight at some point? And if so, they probably they won that fight on Showtime, obviously, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so but then, in order for Canelo to fight Benavidez, Canelo already, like, you have to look at what his schedule is. So he has Golovkin, and then probably Bivol, right? A rematch.
I didn't even. You know what? I don't think he rematches Bivol. I don't see that happening. Really? I think he knows he can't beat him. And here's the other thing. They were talking about Canelo maybe squeezing in a fight in December. Let me tell you something. He fights Golovkin. Unless he makes it look easy, I don't expect it's going to be easy. And I don't expect him to be in shape to fight in December. I think by then he's still going to be feeling the effects.
Who would he fight? He will have to be like a Yildirim type of boxer, right?
They said John Ryder. They said John Ryder or somebody like that. But
he fired his strength and conditioning coach. The one that Canelo had, I forget his name, but he used to train soccer players. He fired him. He got rid of a lot of people.
Canelo did?
Canelo did. So maybe he's and the guy that made him go vegan. So I mean, I did see him doing some type of leg work where he's trying to be more mobile with his legs. So I don't know if he does in a rematch, Bivol for sure. But I don't know. That'd be interesting to see if he does or doesn't.
From what I've seen, I think Canelo believes that he can beat Bivol. Like he said he got tired and blah blah blah. So like he's talking as if he lost because of things that he can fix and they're easy to fix.
Well, that's what world class fighters. That's what world class fighters at his level. That's what they do. They tell themselves that. But whether in the objective world, whether he can actually beat Bivol, I have a hard time seeing it. I don't
think he can, but he believes it because we're talking about whether that fight will happen, and obviously, like, we're not saying he's gonna beat Bivol.
Right.
But I think this is when.
Did you guys read the super chats?
No,
I didn't. Sorry.
You know,
but Hearn will step in and say no.
The interesting thing about that fight, I gave Canelo 3 rounds, but they gave him 5. He was 1 round away from getting a draw. So if they're looking to come up with a strategy and see how close I can make it to where I'm gonna have like where it's gonna tilt in my favor, they can do that.
Yeah, and no one will care.
Yes, he could. Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing, though. That would probably actually hurt his career, his legacy more, because he's already got a 1 straight up robbery win to begin with. I mean, yes, they might have had it by a draw, by 1 round by a draw, and you're 100% correct on that. But that's ridiculous. That was not a 1 round fight. I mean, I gave Canelo 2 rounds, 3 if he was lucky. You know what I'm saying? Same as you. It's like, yeah, no, fight wasn't close. And it was because of all things. And Bivel's only going to get better. It's not like he's not going to, like, he download that information of fighting him. You know what I mean? Yeah, he might be able to get a little more quickness. And as for whoever talked him into being vegan, fuck fine. He should have taken that dude out back and shot him.
Ooh,
like, what a stupid
Chinese
ass
guy?
thing to say. You know what I mean? But
Canelo has 2 fights with the Zone, a 2-fight deal, or no?
I don't know what.
I think he can fight whoever he wants.
Oh,
yeah, I think he's a free agent.
I thought he was a 2-fight deal.
Yeah, he has to fight Golovkin. He has to fight Golovkin. He has to fight Golovkin next, but after that, I think he'd have to renegotiate the deal. That's what I understand.
Oh, okay. So then maybe he can fight Benavidez, no? I mean,
maybe. Yeah.
He could.
Hey, listen, I gotta read.
He just said he wants Hearns with him is all. He says he enjoys his working with Hearns, and going forward, like he would have, say if he was going to fight Bivol or Benavidez, he would have Hearns probably handle the negotiation.
There's no way Benavidez leaves
fight under his
him, right?
banners.
And there's no way Benavidez...
he wouldn't let him. There's no way Lukowitz would allow him because Al Hamer would say, don't do it. So that's what it comes down to. They do what Al says.
Okay, let me just say something real quick. It's Don Ramon in the chat is saying it's a 3-fight deal. Yeah, I forgot because there's that 3rd fight that we're talking about. Might be John Ryder. So it's a 3-fight deal. Real quick, shout out to Amok PvP who says, I used to be a fan of Dogmetrius Andrea. His career is like those candies you don't want as a kid on Halloween. You mean the corn candy? Or yeah, that's fucking good, man. Anyway, he says he's Stank Davis before Stank David. Oh, and shout out to Amok PvP for his contribution with the super chat. Shout out to Rider of the Storm for his contribution with the super chat. He says David will fight at 160-pounder moving up, PBC diet. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what I'm expecting to Rider of the Storm. Either that or he doesn't fight at all. He only fights once this year against a shot Benavidez. And then shout out to Plutonium Loach for his contribution with the super chat. He says Segback es una rata. He's a closet cross hoto. Oh, God. Okay, wait a minute. We don't know that, man. We don't know that. But shout out to Plutonium Loach, who's questioning Segback's homosexuality and his penchant for, perhaps, he's accusing him of dressing up as a lady during the night. So shout out to those guys. Listen, we got to move on from Benavidez here. Because we've got other people to talk about too as well. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget, hey, call in. Listen, we got a phone call here right now. I just checked. Let's go to a phone call here. 954, you're on the air. 954, what's on your mind?
You got a phone call, all right. Skill better.
Oh, Uncle Pete, what's up, man?
That's what I was, now I'm traveling, boys, so I might cut in and out here, but I tuned in and heard you're talking about the Jake Paul Rahman weight fiasco, the scandal. But Rahman's probably talking to his manager, like, so you're saying if I don't make 205, I don't get the fight? Yeah. Oh, it's supposed to be the manager. What's fucking wrong with you?
Pete with the jokes, man. But you don't give a shit about that fight, though. He just...
Stop eating, you fat fuck. Stop eating. Make the weight.
Well, Pete, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, man. you just remain silent after that reference. So what's up, man? Like, we're just talking about what's next for fighters here in the last 4 months. We know guys like Shakur Stevenson, Golovkin, and Canelo. They've got fights lined up. Well, what's everyone else? What do you think?
Well, Andrade, they're trying to. He's gonna have a big title fight with credibility. He's fighting credibility right now for anything. Jerk off. They should fight him against Jake Paul.
I think he said. No, he didn't. He come out and said, "Hey, I'll fight him."
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Two clowns. You know.
I like the jerk off.
Hank, I mean, Jimmy's right. They're just fucking. They're telling you they're gonna keep it in house. So I'd probably rematch him against Rolly if they were smart. They had half a brain in their head, because at least they could promote the fight. No, not that I give a shit. And then Benavidez, I think he's looking to come back in October, September, October.
Yeah, man. And listen, what would excite you with Benavidez? Who would he have to fight for you to go, oh, I'll watch that? Realistically.
I'll watch him anytime. It's my favorite fighter to watch. Like Jimmy's saying, he bases pound for pound on, or partially at least on, I'm not missing that fight. I just like his style, man. I like it a lot. As Floyd Christmas said, I like it a lot. And that last fight, Jimmy's right, that didn't do him any fucking good. That was stupid. Just to blow a guy out, just to blow him over like that, which is retarded. But too soon for Morrell. You know what I'm saying? He'll hurt Morrell badly. And again, Caleb Plant's the obvious choice, but it's the one fighter I wish he went with PBC. Fuck yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, man. Well, listen, Pete, we got to keep going with this list, man. Anything else you want to say?
Stay black, man. No.
All right. He said stay black. All right. Take it easy, Pete.
Bomb squad.
Bomb squad, yeah. Keep your eyes on the road, man. And don't pick up any grifters. All right. That was Uncle Pete calling in. Yeah.
No, I was saying Benavidez agrees with him. He wishes he wasn't with them.
Oh.
It's so true. Right? Because he is a true fighter. This and that kid, he's a dude who would be in the streets fighting even if he wasn't getting paid to do it.
Probably.
You can just tell he likes to scrap. You know what I mean? See it in his eyes.
I mean, we'll see.
They never
man,
lied, Chico.
He also tends to get, he's had discipline problems in the past, which he says are in the past. But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens with him for the next 4 months. But like you guys found out, it's not looking good for him. Tyson Fury claims he retired after the White fight. Nobody believed him. At least nobody that knows that is familiar with Tyson Fury's history. Now apparently I'm hearing rumors he's beginning or might negotiate with none other than Derek Chisora, who apparently regained some clout by beating Pulev, even though most people felt he should have lost that fight. Guys, the fuck is Tyson Fury doing?
Hasn't he fought him 2 times already in the past?
Yeah, but apparently he wants to fight him again.
He fought 2 twice. No, this is I think he's trying to help out. I think they're friends now. He's like, I feel like giving Chisora a payday. You know what I mean? Fucking Fury's talking about fighting Thor or whatever that
Strongman.
What's it called? Strongman. The Mountain from Game of Thrones, yeah. And he's also talking about fighting Ngannou, what's his name? From the UFC?
Ngannou, yeah.
Ngannou, whatever. So, these guys, like, I believe that maybe he wants to unify the division, but right now he's not doing much because he has to wait for that fight to take place, for the unification fight. So he's looking for easy touch-ups that are going to give him some money. Or in this case, help his friend Chisora.
Yeah, that's the way it sounds like, man. Now, here's the thing, though. You get a bunch of rowdy Brits, give them a little beer, get them all shit-faced. Do you guys think they'll pack the arenas to watch this fight for a 3rd time, even though the second one was a blowout? It was boring. And Chisora really doesn't deserve to be in there. You still think it would do business?
They'll do a good way to sell this fight. Chisora's going to start throwing tables again, and they're going to make a whole show of it. Unfortunately, the British public will show up. They show up,
especially in his hometown.
They show up,
especially in his hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chisora is in his hometown. They seem to really back him. But seriously, I mean, if that was seriously going to talk about fighting him, like that's the type of fight you have to put a clown nose on to talk about. Because that's, you know what I mean?
That's going to be Jimmy. That's going to be counted as a title defense.
Yeah, you have to put
outrageous.
You have to put Jimmy. You have to put a helmet on to talk about that fight. A helmet and maybe a mouthpiece, like to keep from biting the tongue off. No, but you know what, man? Yeah, listen. I think Tyson Fury is bullshitting. I think this is what he does. It's psychological warfare. He makes people think that he's retired, that he's got psychological problems. So he puts the other guys on the defensive. Oh shit! If I want to make the fight, I got to do it now. Blah blah blah. He makes those guys follow him. So I never believed that he was retired. and him fighting Chisora a third time, I don't see it happening, especially since he just fought Dylan White, who was the next best contender out there. So I don't see that happening. By the way, shout out to Ed Perez for his contribution with the super chat. He says, you guys forget that Canelo started the fight winning the early rounds and was landing some impressive uppercuts. I believe Canelo beats Bivol next May. Canelo just needs better stamina. Well, that might be true in the sense that the first 3-4 rounds weren't as one-sided as what we saw later on. That being said, Canelo didn't just get tired because he was throwing shots. He got tired because Bivol made him get tired. And not for nothing, but we saw Canelo having limited stamina before. It's just that he was always in control of those fights until he met a guy like Bivol who was in and out, and tired him out.
Well,
so,
yeah. But Canelo thought he was going to break him down with single shots like that, like he like in lower weights. But I mean, against Bivol, that wasn't going to work. And Bivol has a tight guard. He's big. Even though, if you look at that fight, Bivol's arm started to get purple a little bit there.
Yeah,
like he was taking those shots. I don't think it didn't hurt Bivol, but it didn't hurt him enough to break the guard or anything like that. You know.
Well, he showed the damage afterwards. Yeah, he showed the damage afterwards.
And he has an ability. Yeah, he has an ability to make a fighter he's fighting fight at his pace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of the pressure and it was just the way he has that. He couldn't do that with Bivol, and it flustered him. You could tell.
It was Canelo who needed to step up the pace.
Exactly.
All right, now let's not get too much. Let's not get too much into the Canelo thing because we're gonna be here all night. Real quick, then we've talked about. For anybody that's just joined us, we're talking about. We got 4 months left. There's gonna be some surprises announced within the next 4 months. There's gotta be. So we're just speculating about what's next for the guys whose fights haven't yet to be announced. By the way, I forgot to say that I think they did announce Regis Prograis versus Cepeda. John Cepeda and Prograis, 2 southpaws that can crack at 140. That's going to be a heck of a fight. So that's one. Those are 2 fighters that we don't have to talk about right now because they've got fights planned.
Race by stoppage.
Well, there you go. By the way, how about Vasil Lomachenko? He hasn't had. He's coming back from the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. They're talking about putting him in there against Nakathila. Dangerous puncher from Africa, very limited, but he has good punching power. He beat a shot version of Burchelt. Guys, what do you think about that fight, and do you think that happens?
Yeah, sure, why not? Nakatila deserves an opportunity. Who did he just beat?
Burchelt.
He beat Burchelt, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dangerous. Another guy similar to like Comey, dangerous, but I think, Lomachenko's far more skilled, so he wins that fight.
And like you said, when does he ever pull out? When does he ever not fight somebody? When does he ever pull out and say no? Tries to take an easy touch. He fights whoever they say.
Well, I mean, some people will say Haney, he avoid, but we've been through that a million times now, especially on the open lines. You're right, Jimmy. He doesn't avoid anybody. He doesn't create any drama. And when we're talking about the chances of this fight happening, it's Top Rank who've been talking about this fight. So, Jimmy, chances are that this fight does happen, right? Because Top Rank doesn't usually tend to talk about fights, about guys in their stable, and then not make them happen. This is a doable fight, right?
Usually they do. No, yeah, absolutely, it's doable. And does he have a belt, that kid? No, right?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, but yeah, that's why I can't because Haney's unified, duh. But no, absolutely. And it's it's not a soft touch. It'll be funny because that's how it'll be on Twitter. You know, he's fighting a bum. You know what I mean? Like, even though you just beat Virgil, but you know that'll be the narrative. It would still be by far the best opponent Davis has fought in 5 years, but it'll be a bum when it's Lomachenko's opponent. But we know how that game's played.
Exactly. And look, Shakur Stevenson, a lot of people excuse his performance, his horrible performance, even by his standards, against Nakathila. Then Nakathila beats Burchelt, and they go, oh, well, you see, we told you Nakathila was good. Burchelt was shot. So now Lomachenko, though, he's in a perilous position because, A, he has to look good against Nakathila. And if he looks bad, then people go, you see, Stevenson's better than him. So we'll see, because Nakathila, look, how tall is this motherfucker? Hold on, let me check. I think he's taller than Stevenson, and Stevenson's a big super featherweight. What's his first name again? Nakathila? Jeremiah. I don't know how you say his name. It's not Jeremiah. There's no H. He is... Fuck, they don't say on Twitter. Fucking BoxRec, man. How about you fucking tell us how tall he is? They don't tell you nowadays. They don't tell you how tall a guy is. Gonzalo or anybody else. Does anyone know how tall this dude is?
Probably like 5'9". I thought that he's 5'10".
He looks taller. Yeah. He looked way taller than Berchelt. Then Berchelt's a big super featherweight, lightweight. Either way, look, Lomachenko's fought this type of guys before in Walters and Comey. You know, guys with a strong right hand, thoroughly Narisinder if you want to. But he's coming back from Russia, Ukraine. Now, of course, he wasn't in the front lines or whatever, but he's gonna have been out of the ring for close to a year if he fights in November or more, a year. What do you guys think? You think guys like Lomachenko and what's his name, Usyk are gonna lose something coming back from that, or?
Depends, right? I mean, how psychological was it? What did he see? Did he see horrible shit that's keeping him up at night? I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how bad they went at Odessa. That's where I guess he was stationed, where he grew up. I know they bombed him for a while. I just haven't been keeping up on it because it's all a scam. But anyways, that's a second Renaissance show. But go, Gonzalo.
I would say he didn't necessarily have to be around combat, but just the fact that he's over there, it's kind of tense. So that keeps him mentally on his toes. Yeah, you got the PTSD thing like later. I mean, I get that part. But a lot of times when you're there and your senses are heightened, man, you tend to see things more acutely. So if he's coming back and he's still like his mind is sharp, that might, if he's in condition, I don't think he's gonna lose anything because he's been used to being on his toes. Stay alert, stay alive, right? Stay alert, stay alive. So it all depends how good he is in his conditioning.
I want to touch on that, but fucking Timothy in the chat says Lomachenko was doing lines in Zelinsky's office. I mean, I don't think Lomachenko touched.
Somebody paying attention.
Yeah, I don't think he would hang out with Zelinsky. I mean, I think Lomachenko is one of those Orthodox Christians that really takes it seriously, and Zelinsky is let's just say he's a complete opposite of that. Oh, hold on, I didn't say that. But
he would have to take a bath every time you hang out with him.
Oh, but you know what?
Hey, so
Gonzalo you bring up a good point. When you know that you were in the service and in the front lines, when you're not fighting, they still keep you in check. Shine your boots, make sure your uniform's all inside. They make you do mundane tasks just to keep you alert. Do you think that was Lomachenko was doing over there? Because I don't think he's a proper soldier. I don't think he went to training or anything.
No, it's because you're still worried about it if you're gonna get bombed. Mortars, incoming, artillery.
That's true.
You never know when a bomb's gonna drop on your head. And
plus,
like that was, people just start like if you're in a checkpoint. If you're in a checkpoint, you never know what car is gonna be like loaded with explosives. So it might not happen, but still, man, your mind is racing at 100 miles per hour. So that kind of keeps you with your eyes open. And a lot of times, that the little fear keeps you alive. And when you're going into the fight, it's kind of the same thing. You're trying to read the opponent's movements. So if you're on your P's and your Q's and you're on your fucking toes, let's say he's not mentally like worn down, like necessarily like where he's well rested, but he's got his mind open and he's in good condition. I don't think he skips a beat. I think he's on. I think that's good for him.
And I was just trying to say, Gonzalo, you were a real soldier, like legitimate soldier. He's a militia. That's completely different. Like the discipline, Gonzalo, and all that other stuff, Gonzalo had to deal with. Lomachenko does not do that. They might practice shooting, like learn how to give a morphine shot, but there's none of the marching, the discipline, the training that like Gonzalo went through. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, but Gonzalo's point stands that Lomachenko already is a disciplined guy, and maybe being in the front lines and having to stay alert is going to have kept him sharp. I'm more worried about the physical aspect of it, because you lose your conditioning pretty quick. And now Lomachenko is like Usyk is one of those guys that for them they don't need motivation to train. It's self-evident for them. So, but the question then becomes the timing, like you said, Jimmy. What did he see over there? Because we know he wasn't in the front lines.
What did he see?
Yeah, we know he wasn't in the front lines, but still,
what if one mortar came down on a friend? What happens if he saw some people that he cares about blown into smithereens?
Exactly.
That can fucking do it up. That's all.
It wouldn't fuck me up because you know me, but I mean, I understand guys like Loma, they're not used to that type
Yeah,
of stuff.
but you're built different, dude.
I know, that's
People
what I'm
like
saying.
me, we get fucked up. Guys like you just don't, but that's a different.
I mean, I actually want to go back. Me, I can't wait to go back. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Hey, hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. And for anybody that's just joining us, we're talking about within these last 4 months that we've got left of the year, which has been pretty good, by the way. What are we going to see next from the fights that have yet to be announced? Fighters that don't have a fight yet. What's the most likely scenario for them? And maybe speculate a little bit about what we would like to see. Guys, I tell you one guy that's really not have had a good year, either because he hasn't fought or because he's been upstaged by somebody within his family, and that's Jermall Charlo. I think that's Jermall. I can never tell him apart. This guy was supposed to fight Zulensky. He got clowned for it. Then he went on, at around the same time that was announced, he went on the Mike Tyson podcast, and people were making fun of him for it. Then the fight fell apart. His brother, on the other hand, had a good year by beating Castaño, guys. Can we expect anything from Jermall Charlo before the year is over? Realistically speaking. Can they squeeze a fight in there for him?
Jesus.
That says it all.
He's got to do something. Yeah, he's got to do something, man. He's got to that point, right? Am I wrong? And this guy's like just fucking become like fodder. He's just somebody you make just these one shit opponent after another shit opponent, always fucking talking about, calling dudes out on Twitter 3 days after they sign a fight to fight somebody, that he wants to fight him. I mean, to me, it seems like he's hanging around hoping to get that life-changing Canelo money, and then I'm outie.
You know what, man? You know what, Jimmy? I know it's listen, I'm not him, and so I'm just speaking from the outside, but maybe it would behoove him to just fight fucking Benavidez right now. Because, okay, he would get beat up. I expect him to lose that fight. And yeah, there's going to be people that are going to say, see, I told you he wasn't any good. Look, we already know he's a limited fighter. But at this point, he's got to earn some respect from the crowd. And he would get paid more money than if he would fight Zulensky, I think. So maybe he should just say fuck it and say, look, Benavidez doesn't have a fight. I don't have a fight. Let's make it happen. 168, I'll be stronger. I won't have to cut weight. Let's make it happen. See what happens. He probably thinks he can win. It would be a good fight. YouTube would be talking about it for sure. I don't know how much it would do at the gate, but I'm pretty sure it would do good numbers because a lot of hardcore fans would watch it and tell their friends, yeah, let's watch it. I think he should just do that. But realistically, people in the chat are saying apparently they're trying to reschedule the Zulensky fight, which, I mean,
good God. They're trying to save that thing. They're trying to put that thing back on life support. Are you serious? That was the best thing to happen to that fight was to get canceled. Fucking put that shit to bed. Nobody gives a fuck about that fight. Another one dragged up from 154 pounds. Just get out of here, man. Like, it's become a parody of itself. It's so predictable what they do.
It's kind of clear now. It's kind of clear who's the better twin between the two, and it's Jermell, the younger one. But although I gotta say one thing, I was surprised, and I thought that Deveryachenko win was a quality victory. We saw what happened to Deveryachenko; he's lost, but I thought he performed very well in the fight. Never mind the Cocholito Montiel's cousin. Yeah, he did real well in that fight. So what's the deal with him? Is he good or is he not that good?
I think Charlo's good. Jermall is good. Now, these people that were making it out to be as if Canelo and Golovkin were avoiding him, I think that the book's out on him. He struggled against Kobrov. He struggled against Montiel, which he shouldn't have. And now he's not fighting anybody. It's just, not only has he shown he's a limited fighter, but he made the wrong choices. In fact, this just popped in my mind as we were talking about this. After the 2014 Exodus, when De La Hoya went into rehab and Schaefer stole most of his fighters and took him over to the Showtime and to the BBC. A lot of these guys went over there, guys like Jermall Charlo, they went over there because the Mayweather legend was still alive. And they probably thought, yeah, PBC, Al Heyman, Mayweather, they're going to get us that type of money. In hindsight, and I know hindsight's a bitch, if he would have stayed with Golden Boy, maybe he would have gotten Golovkin or Canelo at some point. Since 2014 and today, maybe that could have happened. But instead, he went over with the PBC. He got locked out of those fights. He said no to fights, rejected contracts, and here he is now. People saying that his career has been a waste.
And remember, he tweeted in good time when Triple G Canelo 2 was put off because Canelo had, I think, popped for the drugs, so they were looking for an opponent for Triple G, and the fans were really being loud about it. And he was like, in good time. You know what I mean? Like, so, and he definitely turned down the Canelo fight. That's well documented. That's not even in question.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the first thing he would do after, all the way back to 2016, where you at, Cinnamon? You know what I mean? He did that at 154. Where you at, Cinnamon? Man, his brother came in the ring and yelled at.
Right.
And he's like, you're right. Oh, you calling out Canelo? That was at 154. But then 2 years later, he turned down the career high pay to fight him. So this dude, I mean, your credibility's shot, bro. Just beat up these fucking slags. And like fucking Steve Kim said, you're not an elite fighter when you lose that many rounds. When you lose as many rounds as you win, it's only because of his eraser that's protected him. He's been in fights where he's been losing rounds, and if he didn't knock the dude out, he might have lost. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, his best win
is
Davidchenko. I mean, it is what it is.
He's a competent, athletic 1-2 counterpuncher, heavy on the back foot, bang. You know what I mean? There's nothing there. He's not that guy.
Well, listen, it's not all bad. He's 30 years old or 31. There's still time. But he needs to, I don't know, maybe he should just split from the PBC, man. Look at what Jacobs at least got the Golovkin and Canelo fights. I don't see why Charlo I don't see why he wouldn't be in contention for those fights. Those guys are always looking for good opponents, and he's a good opponent. Say what you want about him. He's got skills, and he could sell a fight. Shout out to Vladdy B for his contribution to the super chat. He says, "Yo, BDA, when's the next Renaissance stream?" I'm working on it. I'm working on something to see maybe if we can do one tomorrow. So shout out to Vladdy B for that. I was going to go to a phone call, but somebody just dropped off. Shout out to everybody. The call in. We're almost done here, so call in before we're done. Don't forget to hit the like. All right, so that's Jamal Charlo. Go ahead.
I wanted to throw something in there real quick.
Sure.
You know, in regards to you mentioning that this year's been good, I think it's been good, but the only thing that I don't like is there's a lot of gaps in between. So they get you riled up, you see a good fight, but then you go 2-3 weeks without a fight. And it's like, what the hell's going on? It kind of kills the momentum.
Well, there was a period starting in, the beginning of the year, and especially between May and June or July. There was a lot of good fights. Right now, we're in that period, August, where they usually don't. This is where the gap is. But let me tell you, Gonzalo, end of the year, we're gonna. I think that's what we're speculating here. I think we're gonna see at least one surprise before the end of the year. They're gonna announce one big fight for the fall. And I'm excited to see which one it is. But you're right. Right now, there's been a lot of gaps, especially here in August. So that's Jermel. No, sorry, that was Jermel. Jermel, though, they're saying he's going to fight Tim Tszyu in 2023. So apparently no more fights for him.
Right?
Yeah, January or February. Yeah, so it's no more fights
for him.
So
that's that one fight this year?
Yep.
Right, so one fight this year? What a
just like last year,
joke.
Yeah.
What a joke.
They don't have the money.
He's living off the victory. So he got all the belts and, he's just living off of that.
Yeah, that's right. One victory. That's the PBC plan. One fight per year. We only got money for one fight per year. Well, make the most of it.
And they don't have any time slots because you said yourself that Showtime hasn't released their fall schedule yet.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They usually do by now, right? Don't they?
Well, like that's what I was telling Butcher earlier too. Is like if they announce it, Jimmy, you think if they announce it within the next, what's the date limit? Because let's say we got October, November, December. What's the cutoff to announce all those fights? What would you think the cutoff would be? The latest when they would announce those fights?
September. You have to by the end of August, right? I mean, then you got to patch them all in the last 3 months of the year. You want to space them out. It's a better consumer dollar, especially if you're slapping shit on pay-per-view that don't deserve to be on a pay-per-view in the beginning, to begin with.
Exactly, man. You're absolutely right. So there you go. That's why I was curious to get a read on when's the latest when they would announce them. Maybe they could still announce something because it's just the beginning of August. Maybe they could announce. Maybe the PBC tells these guys, "Hey, listen, keep training. We're gonna get something to you within the next 2 weeks." And because if somebody's already been training since, let's say, beginning July, and it's August right now, and then they tell them, "Hey, September 15, 20, get ready." I think they could be ready for those type of fights. It's cutting it close, but that's the way they do it at the PBC. They got to see what they can scrounge up from Showtime.
Hey, can I just say one thing real quick? I'll make it real quick. One hot take. When this all comes to an end, there'll be lawsuits filed by multiple fighters saying they didn't get all their money. No, listen, they didn't get all their money from Al Heyman. Just going to say that. Because he's deferred all these payments. All these fighters have been getting their pay deferred over the years.
Whoa.
You can't tell me when he finally walks away, you don't think Adrian Broner or a bunch of guys will say, wait a minute, what do you mean that's it? I don't have any more. Because they get statements.
Wow.
I'm just saying, and he invests their money. So he's in charge of investing their money. I'm just saying, there's going to be lawsuits.
Listen, it wouldn't be the first time, Jimmy.
All the time, so.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time Jimmy's been right with this type of predictions. And this one, I mean, you've got 120 fighters on that stable. Some of them not getting fights. Some of them not getting paid right away. You got to figure there's going to be some disgruntled people, like Jimmy said. So, yeah, I agree with Jimmy on that one, man. It wouldn't surprise me if Al Heyman gets some plastic surgery and then moves to the Cayman Islands and never reappears again. I put Devin Haney here because, look, Kambosos, despite the fact that he fought a horrible fight, is insisting on his rematch clause. I'm looking at the ESPN schedule. They said that it's going to happen in October, the rematch. They have it penciled in. Hold on, let me just double check here because I can't believe it myself. October 16, Devin Haney, TBA, at the venue to be announced. Australia, though, that's where it's going to be because that's what the contract says. Apparently, we're going to have to see this fight again.
Well, what Haney has to do, seriously, he has to take this kid out or at least put it on him.
Yep.
He can't go out there and do that again because, yes, he won the unification. And I'm not saying this is me saying it, but I can tell you what I've been hearing, especially on the show, Calling Friday and other shows. People don't tend to like this kid because they find it boring or hugging. All these things has been talked about to nauseam. So he's going to have to change that. And it's it's on him to do it. That's it.
And what Kambosos has got to do, if he learned anything from this fight, don't try to outbox a boxer and go tit for tat with them. Basically, just say, okay, well, I'm going to take away, his hook or his straight right hand. No, just dude, you got to make it physical. You can't just try to counter the counter puncher. You got to step two and be more of an aggressive, for the lack of a better term, like a Mexican style.
Mm-hmm.
Press the dude.
Yeah, the problem with that is, and I agree with you, Gonzalo. On paper, that's what he's got to do. The problem with Kambosos, that's why I didn't pick him for the first fight. He's a counter puncher too, and if he does say, "Hey, I gotta go for broke," is going to be feint with the jab and come in with the overhand right. That's it. He's not a Virgil Ortiz guy. He's not a Golovkin fan. He's not an Inoue fight. He doesn't know how to properly put pressure, especially with that fucking Philly shell defense of his. It's going to be the same thing. Now, as to Jimmy's point about whether Haney has to make something happen, the book is out on Haney. He's another guy that doesn't know how to put pressure, and if he does, he gets caught, and his chin is not all that good. So I don't expect him to do that. He was always going to be in a difficult position with this fight, with the first fight, because he did sign a rematch clause. So he's got to go through it again. I don't expect him to go in there and make it entertaining, because if he does, that gives Kambosos a slight chance of catching him. I think Haney's going to play it safe again. I think that's the type of fighter he is. And meanwhile, he's going to have all the belts, and yet Tank Davis and Haney are still going to be talking about fighting each other and no mention of Haney. That's what I expect from that. And you know what? The worst thing about it is I don't mind Haney outside the ring. He's not an asshole like Shakur Stevenson. He's not going around punching women. His family isn't going around starting riots at the post-fight press conference. So, I mean, I like the guy, but as a fighter, he just doesn't, good skills and all, but you see what happens with Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. They can afford not to talk about him, even though he's the lineal champ, because at this point, he just doesn't move the needle when it comes to setting the boxing world afire.
I agree with you on that too.
One thing is because these fighters are changing their styles up too much. Sorry, Jimmy. Like when Jojo Diaz fought Haney, he was kind of marching forward and he was pretending to be like a Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Kambosos fought Haney, he was trying to outbox a boxer. What happened to like understanding that you're not the power puncher, but if you have some sort of opportunity, it's about maybe putting your punches together and being like a pressure fighter, punches and bunches, and you might hurt the guy. Because, yeah, if Haney comes forward, like you said, BDA, that might open the door for Kambosos to do something, but that is not even a guarantee because he's not the power puncher either. So we're talking about changing styles, but find the right style that is actually going to give you the best chance to win. And that's not going to be a one-punch type of knock you out. It's not going to be, I'm going to try to outbox a boxer. It's going to be about putting your punches together and coming with an effective game plan that's actually going to fucking work if you're really going to go in there trying to get the victory. But I don't see these fighters actually going in there to try to get the victory. I'm just seeing them as trying to go in there and getting a fucking payday. Because Jojo Diaz was not a Canelo. And fucking Kambosos, I don't know what he thinks he is, but he has to be rough and tough and not just think about I'm going to be a knockout artist or I'm going to be a boxer. No, you got to put your punches together and be a more active fucking fighter.
That's right. You know what? He's got to stop watching 300 and thinking he's at that battle where we're gonna make them come to us. He needs to be Hannibal. He needs to go after these motherfuckers. He needs to be proactive. He needs to cross the Alps and take the fight to Devin Haney. But guess what? He can't fucking do that. He's not built like that. He doesn't have those type of skills. Maybe he could work on it and improve. I doubt he does worse than he did the first time. But it's really one of the least interesting fights out there, this fucking rematch.
But why? What I don't understand is why didn't he even at least fight the way he fought against Teofimo? Because you know why? That fear of Lopez's power had him fighting different, up on his toes, jumping in and out, trying to bounce in and out. Instead, he come out all the weight over his front foot and thought he was going to land a fucking moonshot.
Well, it was also the jab. It was also Haney's jab. Teofimo Lopez doesn't have that type of jab. That was the main. But he didn't even stay on his toes though. Like if you're not going to get on your toes and try to bounce in, Haney. Like, haven't you ever seen Haney fight? What made you think that style where you fought him was going to beat him? It was just like Gonzalez said, crazy that he just seemed like to change. But I don't know. Haney's got to go in there and just give this kid a fucking lesson, try to gain some more fan support, and move on from there. That's right. Now we move on to Artur Beterbiev. Now again, he's with a competent promoter. Top rank, and they've already announced, like, we all want to see the Bivol fight, but apparently, and this is from a week ago, they're talking about negotiating and making a fight against Arthur Yardy in England. Now look, Yardy, people still remember him from taking a beating against Kovalev, but to his credit, he has improved. He lost to Lyndon Arthur, and then he came back and showed that he can fight going forward. He stopped Lyndon Arthur in the rematch, fought him on the inside, which is not easy. Guys, most people think, being a counterpuncher, that's the most difficult style. The most difficult style, in my experience and from seeing people box, is actually going from boxer to competent inside fighter. It takes real skill to fight on the inside when you can't see properly and finding the proper space to punch with power and all that. And that's what Yardy said. So, apparently that's the fight that's going to happen, but it's still, like, we'd all like to see Beterbiev versus Bivol, or even Gilberto Ramirez, El Zurdo Ramirez. But, guys, what do you think about this Yardy fight? Do you think it happens? And if so, how interested would you be in that?
Well, I'm not so interested in it, but it's good for him because it'll give him some more UK flavor. Like, he'll probably go over there and fight him in the UK. He'll build up even more of a fan base there. Thing is, he's at 40 years old, right? I mean, he's up past 37, so if anything, it'll build up the Bivol fight a little. I think that's what they're trying to do, maybe. But yeah, he should do what he has to do. I mean, he should go out there and bang that dude out. I mean, he looked very impressive against Joe Smith, and he should do the same against him. But he's one of those guys you want to see fight because you know he's not looking to point you. You know what I mean? I'll point you. So
exactly. No, you're right, man. You're right. And that's the problem with fighting Beterbiev is he's not gonna back foot bitch it and clinch. He's gonna fucking hurt you. Look at what he did to Joe Smith, who nobody was able to stop. Gonzalo, what do you think about the Yardy fight? I mean, Yardy's a strong guy. But we already saw what happens when he stepped up against a Russian puncher. Do you think this is the same thing that happens here? Or?
Well, I mean, it would be entertaining. At least it would be that. I think he gets knocked out similar to like Marcus Brown, where he gets broken down. But that's the thing. If you know you're going to get broken down because Dimitri, what's his name? Artur Beterbiev. He's a devastating puncher. Well, what you need to do if you got power yourself, like Anthony Yard, you need to go there for the fucking knockout. You need to go fucking bombs away, and not just say, okay, I'm gonna make it entertaining. I'm gonna give the fans a show. No, I'm gonna actually try to go and fucking blast this dude out of there. Because the more you decide to go rounds with this guy, the more beatings he's gonna put on you. So if you have a chance of also landing your Hail Mary shot as well, hey, by all means, fucking try to do that yourself. Try to go for the kill too.
Excellent
because
point.
he's been dropped like 2 times. And I'm not saying that he's chinny. Yeah, but that's what you need to do against these guys because they're dangerous.
Excellent point, man. Yardy doesn't have the skills to outbox Beterbiev. Beterbiev's got good boxing skills. Now, if he tries to slug it out, some people say, yeah, BDA, we already saw what happened with Joe Smith. But there's some key differences here. Yardy's faster than Smith. And as he showed against Lyndon Arthur, he can fight chest to chest. So I think that's his best shot, believe it or not. Try to go after fucking Beterbiev. Try to get close, chest to chest. Really don't try not to. But even then, he's still going to lose because I think Beterbiev is going to catch him in on coming in. And Beterbiev can actually... I don't know if you guys have seen when he fights in the clinch, he just whacks guys with shots and he still moves them. Almost like, not necessarily back shots in the back of the head, but really just whacks them on the temple and they still move. So this guy's heavy-handed. I don't see Yardy beating him, but I would be intrigued to see what happens. And like somebody in the chat said, they would pay just to see Yardy get a beating. Apparently people don't like him. So I think it's an interesting fight, but we'd all rather have seen him against Bivol. Amak PvP in the chat says, Kevin Snoozefest Haney is illegal style, shouldn't be allowed. If I want to pay to go to sleep, I will pay for melatonin, and it's cheaper. Oh, well, there you go, man. He doesn't. Why did he call him Kevin Haynes? What's that reference to? I don't know who Kevin Haynes is. All right. So that's Beterbiev right there. Who else is left from the big names? Because we're not talking about Kyoguchi or Jesse Rodriguez. Well, Inoue, yeah, they're saying Paul Butler, right?
Yeah, is that going to happen?
It should. I mean, I think Top Rank can easily get that dude. It's not like he's a big name with the PBC or with Eddie Hearn or whatever. I think it happens. I would have rather have seen him in against a puncher at least. Because at this point, look, Inoue fighting guys like Paul Butler, and no offense to Butler, he's a good tactician in there, technician. He doesn't have any world-class speed, world-class power, or world-class boxing skills. I mean, he's not a master puncher, he's not a master boxer, and he's not a master speedster, is what I'm trying to say. And that's what you need. You need at least some of that to make it competitive. Just being a straight-up boxer with, middle attributes across the board, that's what Inoue feasts on. We've already seen it, so I'm not too excited about it. But as long as Inoue stays active and he fights decent opposition, I'm willing to watch him. How about you guys?
I'm right with you. He's on my pound for pound list for a reason. I don't miss his fights because of what he does to people in there. You know what I mean? Guys who've never been stopped even against prime Donaire, and he goes out and blasts them out in 2 rounds. I mean, this guy's doing impressive things and against world-class opposition. And I know that some people listen to the show don't even count it as a part of boxing because they're littler than them. But I do.
Absolutely, man. Then we got somebody just asked, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, what's up with him? Is he going to fight Estrada? Finally, the rubber match that we've been waiting for since 2021, early 2021? Or has anyone heard anything about Chocolatito?
Well, I heard Estrada. Isn't Estrada the one making it difficult? He's like dicking around shit.
Really?
It's been Estrada, right? Who's been the fly in the ointment on that fight. Yeah, one time he had COVID, or twice he had COVID. I don't know.
Interesting, man.
I know he had it at least once. Then actually he pulled out because he didn't feel right.
Oh,
I think that was one of the reasons.
Because,
remember?
I don't know, man. Look, Estrada's got Estrada's got balls, man. This guy, I remember the first time I watched him against Gonzalez in 2012. I said, this guy's got balls the way he fights. So I find it hard to believe that he would be scared to fight Chocolatito again. But apparently look, they fought in early 2021. We're now nearing the end of 2022, and that fight hasn't happened yet. So, I don't know.
Well, you know what it is, right? Fighters, regardless. Nobody knows who won a fight more than a fighter. Believe me, every robbery, like Canelo knows he lost that first fight to Triple G. No questions asked.
Yeah.
You know, if he was held to a fucking, you put him on a lie detector test by someone who can actually, a good one like FBI, they would say he couldn't pass that. He knows in his heart he lost. So doesn't Ward. He knows he lost that fight to Kovalev. And Estrada knows he lost to Chocolatito. He lost that fight without a doubt. He probably doesn't want to lose again. How many robberies is he going to get?
And you wait a little while longer, and it just makes Chocolatito a little bit older. So I don't know if we're seeing maybe a little bit of what's going on between Canelo and Triple G. But you never know against these world-class fighters because they won't go away. Same thing could be said about GGG and Chocolatito. They're still around.
That's a good point. I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully Chocolatito gets another fight, because he did look good against Martinez earlier this year. So hopefully he keeps the momentum.
Can I just say, I know it'd be a great fight. People would want to see it. I just have so much respect and fucking admiration for Chocolatito. I kind of hope he does whatever he does and bails. I don't want to see him get starched as he's older by because a lot of people are saying the kid I think is going to win Fighter of the Year. My God, I'm having a
Bam Rodriguez.
Bam Rodriguez. Yeah, I don't need to see that. You know what I mean? Especially when Chocolatito's, if you're up over 35, prime would be awesome. Prime, but I just have too much. Chocolatito is one of those fighters I have such high admiration for. I don't need to see him on his back.
Hey, Jimmy, a guy like Chocolatito, like a fighter like him, is he like a rich person, or does he live like a nice life? Probably, huh?
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, absolutely. You kidding me? I mean, you know how much money goes by? And because he still lives in Nicaragua. So, I mean, you can live like a fucking... I know expats, guys who move from my area, move down there, and you live like a king for short money. And lessons of life taught to him, I hope he kept. I mean, he had the right guy to do it. And always told him to be humble, and you don't hear about stupid things he's involved. Yes, I do believe he's doing well down there.
Regardless if he was living there or not, let's say he was living in the United States, a fighter like him, do they make pretty good money, do you think?
He's a millionaire. Yes, he's a millionaire. He's made millions. He's made $1 million paydays. So...
Hey, by the way, man, with all that money, like you said, the currency in over there, he can live up to his nickname and eat a lot of chocolate, probably, right? It's probably cheap with the currency, man. Imagine he just loads up on chocolate, all sorts of chocolate. My goodness gracious, ain't that the life?
Yeah. Move up to 22 and Freddie Newey, no?
I don't know if that's going to happen. By the way, the phone lines are almost closing, and we got 2 calls here. I hate when we're calling. We gotta get through them, because otherwise, when it gets to the minute mark, it starts 1 minute. It's like, shut up. 520, you're on the air. 520. What's on your mind?
Hey guys, I came back just to let you guys know that I watch another channel called Skywalker Boxing, and Rachel and Nonito Denaire go there frequently, and they talk boxing, and they did confirm that Inoue is going to go to 122, so I'm most likely thinking that it's going to be versus Cool Boy Steph. But I just wanted to throw that out to you guys, since it's been mentioned a couple times on the channel.
Now that would be something. I mean, they'd have to work
Nonito Denaire.
That would be something. I mean, so that it would have to be a collaboration between Top Rank and PBC, and we know they've done it with Tyson Fury Wilder, but would they dare to do it with Inoue versus Stephen Boy Fulton?
I don't know, but that's what supposedly, he is going up to 122. That's what they said. Like, if the Butler is not going to fall through, then he's not going to really chase it.
But what?
He's going to go to 122.
But yeah, man, shout out to everybody on the panel.
All right, man. Thank you for the inside scoop, man.
What was it?
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right.
Take it easy, man.
No, he said thank you. He said, what's it? So I was telling him you said thank you.
Jimmy, what do you think? I mean, first of all, all due respect to Nonito and Rachel Donaire, but what do they know that, you know?
I maybe just scuttlebutt through through sparring partners, like, because they all, it's a small circle of people, but sure. I mean, it's completely different. I mean, Donaire's in Japan, speaks a different language. So I would imagine they heard scuttlebutt. It's a small world, boxing, so you hear shit, but I don't know. I would think he would want to get acclimated to the weight. I think that'd be a big ask. I mean, the kid's only had, how many pro fights? 23 pro fights. He won his first belt in his 7th fight. But I don't know. I like him against Fulton, but I don't think they can make that fight. I don't think the PBC would make it anyways.
I think we'd see him fighting MJ before he fought Fulton at 122. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 916. 916, you're on the air. 916, what's on your mind?
BDA, what's up, man? It's first time caller, long time listener, man. This is Black and Brown Boxing.
Oh, Black and Brown, what's up, man?
What's going on, fellas? No, I just wanted to chime in. I finally got some extra time because you go live at a time for me that is not, I can't call in, but today I have time. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the generation that we're in. You got a lot of the boxers going after undisputed. We have a lot of undisputed champions right now. And then on the other side, we have a lot of boxers that are just clout chasing and full of shit. And I watched some Jamal Charlo interviews or Demetrius Andrade interviews, and they're just so fucking pathetic, bro. And then you got guys like Rolly Romero trying to call out fucking Earl Spence. And, realistically, that shit will never happen. We know that shit will never happen, but it's all for clout and popularity. And so my point is, we got half these boxers going after greatness and legacy, and they really care about going after belts and championships. Then we have these other half of boxers who are just here for fucking paydays and for clout and trying to gain popularity. And I think us as boxing fans, we need to start being able to tell the difference between these full of shit boxers and these boxers that really care about diehard boxing fans and giving us what we want and really caring about their legacy, and going after greatness, and I think us as boxing fans, we need to start separating the real from the fake, man.
You're absolutely right, man. Absolutely, man. Because listen, it's mostly people from the PBC because they don't know what they're doing. They don't have fight dates for them. They're all over the place. But you're right. Look, listen, and we, as consumers, we're paying too. A lot of people like to focus on, the fighters, they're the ones taking all the risk. What about us? Especially in this economy. It ain't peanuts anymore that what we're paying for here. So we gotta say too, man, we're getting fleeced a lot of the time with these fighters. What would you say to that, Black and Brown?
Oh, you know what? And then you bring up the PBC, right? So I'll touch on one aspect of the PBC. Right now, I'm hearing I love Boots Ennis. I think he's fucking good. I think he's dope. I think Jerome Boots Ennis has the potential to be not only next pound for pound star of boxing, but the next face of boxing, right? That's what potential I think he has. But in reality, he hasn't done shit, and he's not trying to do shit, or the PBC is not trying to put him in positions to do shit, right? But his fans, Boots and his fans, they rate him above Virgil, and they rate him above Conor Ben, and above all these guys. Boots is this, Boots is that. And I heard yesterday, I don't even know what channel I remember I was watching, but they were saying, if Conor Ben really wants that smoke, he should come and fight, come to the PBC and fight all the PBC guys. And I'm like, why does Conor Ben need to come to the PBC and fight all the PBC guys when Jerome Boots Ennis is not even fighting the PBC guys? They won't even put him in the ring with Butayev. They won't even fucking put him in the ring with Butayev, let alone Stanionis.
That's right, man.
So, when it comes to the PBC, man, I just think they move their fighters horribly. I think it's blatantly obvious that they protect their fighters. And for me, as a boxing fan, it gets really frustrating. I really, really like Benavidez. He's one of my favorite fucking boxers right now. But what's up with the Plant fight? What are you doing with him? Why won't Charlo move up? Why is Charlo so set on staying at 160 for holding his one belt that he didn't even win in the ring? Why does he have to stay at 160 his whole career? Why can't he move up? He's a fucking giant at 160. Why can't he move up, challenge himself? So you bring up the PBC, and I just get frustrated because
all the fights are there, especially at 68, and they just will not make them. They refuse to make their fights. They refuse to put their racehorses. They refuse to put them in tough situations. And for me, as a boxing fan, it gets frustrating, man. It gets super fucking frustrating.
You're not the only one, man. We've been having
and
to
I
deal.
appreciate you. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I appreciate you giving me the time to let out my frustrations. You know, I appreciate that shit, BDA.
Anytime, Black and Brown, you know that, man. And by the way, before
can I just say it's good to hear? It's good to hear. What's up, Black and Brown? I've heard you talk many times on YouTube. Good to say I hear you live, and I want to say I agree with everything you said. Right down from your description of Boots Ennis. Same thing. I think he's a super talented kid, but when people are talking about him already, like, you know, he's already punched his ticket to the hall. It's like, come on, hold on. His chin hasn't even been, you know, checked yet. That's the one question I think that's still out there. But great call, though, brother.
Yeah, and everybody check out Black and Brown's channel.
How does he handle a high pressure fighter? How does he handle a high pressure, high level fighter? We don't know. How can we say he beats Virgil Ortiz? We don't know. We don't even know if he could beat Conor Benn. You know, in my opinion, Virgil Ortiz is way more proven. And again, a lot of people don't like his fight coming up with McKinson, right? McKinson's a top rank. He's ranked in the top 10 in one of those sanctioned bodies. I can't remember what sanctioned body, but he's a top 10 fighter. Another top 10 fighter. Virgil Ortiz is taking out top 10 fighter after top 10 fighter. So, I mean, if you're going to rate anybody, it should be Virgil Ortiz over Boots Ennis. But I like to call it a 50 fight. I really like to pick and choose sides.
Exactly. Yeah. Listen, you got to call it like it is, man. If a guy's doing the work, we praise him for it, and if he isn't, he isn't. Black and Brown, man, you called right at the end. The fucking phone line's closing, and there's a woman telling me every 30 seconds the phone line's closing. So everyone, check out Black and Brown's channel. I'm putting it up on the screen here. Everyone, go check it out. It's one of the best. Free Smoke Friday. I've said it before. I've gone on his show and I've said it, and I'll say it again. It's one of the most entertaining things you'll see. All right. It's one of the most entertaining things you'll see on YouTube.
BDA, you need to let me know how I get the link so I could join your channel. Hit the link. You know, I need to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, just listen. I'm gonna put I think the link is in the description, but I'm gonna put it now in the chat. All you gotta do is click on it, create a Discord account. Takes 2 seconds. I don't think you even need.
The link to the Discord. Okay.
Yeah. And then,
okay,
boom,
brother. Thank you. I appreciate the phone call, brother. I'll talk to you guys later, man. You guys have a good one.
Thank you. You too, man. Take it easy.
Take it easy, brother.
All right, that was Black and Brown.
Excellent
Go check,
call.
like I said, Free Smoke Friday. Go check out his channel. One of the most entertaining things out there. If you like good boxing discussion, and he'll let anybody on. Well, most anybody on lately, because there's been a little tension within the boxing community, but for the most part, it's one of the most entertaining things on YouTube. Go check out Black and Brown's channel, and go check out, and definitely check out Free Smoke Friday. You will not regret it. You will not regret it. I guarantee. It's got my stamp of approval, if it means anything. Oh shit! Hold on. We got one last call. I think I can still take the call even though it's closed. Let's see if it's working. 678. You're on the air. 678. Can you hear me? 678, can you hear me? 678, going once, going twice.
678.
Yeah, he's there, but he's playing some. Let me see if I can hear what he's playing. No, I can hear what he's playing. I hear something in the background. I hear some TV, radio, or something. But
Yeah, I know, me too.
I wanted to see if he was watching porn or something. 678, are you there? 678. 678, you're on the air. Can you hear me? Actually, let me play some loud music. See if we can wake him up.
And I pity you.
No, that's not music. 678, are you there? Come in, 678. Come in. 678. No, he's not hearing.
Well,
Yeah.
BDA, did you see? Well, last night on was it last night? Night before, I was just watching Rings. He was, he had a live. I guess some, kid tried to join the panel, and he didn't know that nobody else could see, but the guy's on the panel. I guess he pulled his pants down and showed his asshole or something like, oh yeah, and they were all making fun like, nobody even saw that, you jerk off, like because he was a Jake Paul fan or something. Pretty fucking funny.
Wait a minute, the guy was on the stream and he pulled his pants down to show his ass.
Well, you know how you have Ring. You watch if you're watching live, you see him in the center, and up on the right hand side is all the icons of all the people. This kid thought his icon was showing, or that because he was doing it through the stream, right? So you could see.
Right.
So I guess they all saw it because they said, "Oh, what the fuck?" They all started flipping out, and Ring was laughing. I was like, you jerk off! Nobody saw that. You wasted that. But I guess he pulled his pants down.
He tried to. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like he tried to get his channel, like people trying to do shit like that to get people's channel in trouble. Because if that got reported to YouTube, then they could get a strike and shit. So.
Yeah, well, I showed you the one that
channels down.
I showed you the one after the show, the last show I showed you with on H Money is the guy that showed his he was buck naked in his bed watching Ryan Garcia, and he was touching himself. I'm like, oh, come on! And apparently that's the 4th time it's happened on that H Money show. And official scorecard boxing, poor guy, he had to deal with somebody actually showing his asshole on camera. It was disgusting. So when you're doing StreamYard, that's what people do nowadays with StreamYard. When they see somebody that they don't know who it is come in, they put up a photo so that it blocks the screen, and then they see it. But yeah, one time I remember one guy over Second Renaissance tried to do that on StreamYard. I opened up the StreamYard for one of the rare times, and some dude came in and he was showing a video of a guy jerking off. I'm thinking, nobody's saying it, you motherfucker. You wasted your shot. Hey, speaking of official scorecard boxing, check out official scorecard boxing. He just did 2 superb Golovkin Canelo film analysis. This fucking guy, every time he puts something, film analysis, I learn something new. It's really interesting. I mean, he touches on the minutia of those fights, and it makes me learn things, man. It's impressive. It's just a very good videos.
Exactly. Can I chalk it up too? Yeah, I watch his stuff too, bro. He's very attention to detail. Is excellent. He does do great work. Just wanted to give a shout out.
All right. I think we're going to wrap it up. Yeah, the phone lines are closed, fellas. The phone lines just closed a couple of minutes ago. So and even then,
shout out to official. Hello, my friend.
Hello, you remember that? I had the clip. Because he ended up re-editing it, so he blurred out the asshole. Good for him. But I had the unedited clip. I don't know. Don't ask me why I saved those type of things. But I lost it. I think it was in the hard drive that got fucked up. Maybe it was meant to be. Okay, so before we go, here's Black and Brown's link to his channel. If you don't know which one it is, then let me put official scorecard boxing's channel here. The link, and if the link to the Discord, the link to our Discord is in the description, but just in case, I'm gonna post it here again. And by the way, we're becoming more strict with we don't want people fucking up things, because people start talking race in the boxing Discord, and don't forget we have a shit talking section too, where you can just say whatever you want, but people still insist on shit talking in the actual BDA Discord. So just keep in mind not to do that. Where's the fucking invite? There we go. I'm gonna post the invite now, and there we're gonna go. And shout out to everybody who joined. Hey, listen, shout out to Jimmy, Gonzalo, Chief, who had to leave as well. Bucho was here as well. Shout out to you fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Here's the Discord link for all of you that haven't made it in. And that's about it. What else can we say, man? I think we spoke a lot about a whole bunch of things. A lot of speculation about what's next. It's been a good year, and I suspect it's only going to get better before it ends. So shout out to you guys.
Yep. Absolutely.
Shout out to Amok PvP for his late contribution to the show. Here he says, sometimes I might seem like an asshole, but enough is enough. I just want the best to fight the best at their best. Well, first of all, sometimes you seem like an asshole.
Absolutely.
Okay. No, but yeah, of course. We all want the best to fight the best, man. And then, listen, we're paying for it. I'm paying here for TSN. Well, actually, I'm no longer paying for the PPC ones. I'm boycotting those. If I watch, I'm not going to tell you how I watch them. Could be at a bar, could be at a friend's house, but I ain't paying for them anymore. Fuck that. PPC is not giving me my money's worth. But I do. Thank you. But I do pay for the Zone, Top Rank. Some of the fucking overseas cards, I can't pay for them because they're not available here. I have no choice but to stream them. But listen, enough's enough.
Streaming wars.
The streaming wars. There you go. We're gonna make a stand, fellas. We're gonna make a stand. They can't. Yeah, that's the other thing. Let me say it again. These motherfuckers, they give you shit cards, and then every once in a while they give you a good card, and they make it seem as if you owe them for that. Fuck that. They owe us. We're the customers. We're paying.
They want to be praised.
They want to be praised for bullshit. All right, well, listen, fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody out there in the chat, everybody that contributed with the super chat, everybody that called in, and everybody that was listening, of course. Norman, Louis, Eparokua, AJR, Rapax Trucking Company, Yo Daddy, Soothsayer in the house as well, The Logical Man, Iceman, Max Palacios. Who else? One Foot at the Door, Fast Car, Vladdy V, Amak PvP, Rex in the house. Hey, what's up, everybody? Dennis F, The Quags, Oscar Prince Boateng. Who else am I missing here? Pete G, Uncle Pete called in as well. Speaking of Pete, 2 Matador, Knockout Net. Shout out to Knockout Net, Dennis F, The Quags. Well, I already mentioned him. Why not mention him a second time? Ed Perez, Gus Fring, Team Batman, Boxing, Don Ramon Champ, Fast Car, FR2. And if I forgot anybody, it's because we got to go. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like on the way out. Spread the BDA gospel. And we'll catch you in the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. Oh, subscribe to Second Renaissance. Subscribe to the Second Renaissance. Take it easy, fellas. Thanks for watching.
Everyone knew you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend